What's up guys, this is your favorite fanfic YouTuber, the Fanfic Majesty, and welcome to another amazing video. You can follow me on Patreon for exclusive stories.
11 MT. Chapter 371 Black Zetsu. I have a showdown, I am a great director. Advertisement. What about the people in the village? Might Guy asked a great question. This, Hitaki Sakuma was immediately tangled. Combined with the power of their four masters, it is not a problem to protect tens of thousands of ninjas around them. But it is a bit difficult to protect Konohagakure in the distance. Calm down. Where do these problems need us to be small to get headaches? Look, our Hokage-sama is having so much fun. Even Uchiha Madara's infinite Tsukuyomi didn't try to stop it, but relished it. Look. Just when Namikaze Minato and others were feeling heavy, Tsunade's nonchalant voice came into everyone's eyes. 2. We're P********** D off. Konoha doesn't need us to have a headache. We just need to do our own thing. Let Hokage-sama handle the rest by himself. Who made him pretend now? Nara Shikaku nodded. Since Hokage-sama wants to pretend, no matter if he is crying or kneeling, he must let him pretend. Infinite Tsukuyomi's troubles were naturally resolved by Luo Hao. Call out. Just when Nara Shirju and the others were going to throw Konohagakure to Luo Hao, the fourth Hokage, to solve it, the moon with the pattern of reincarnation Sharingan has begun to project endless light towards this ninja world. Facing this kind of light that can penetrate all barriers and matter. In the land of fire, the land of water, the land of wind, and even the entire ninja world, almost everyone was irradiated by the light of infinite Tsukuyomi in an instant. Everyone's eyes turned into Rinnegan's pattern, and then the consciousness fell into an illusion and couldn't extricate itself. Advertisement. What followed was that the trees covering the entire ninja world wrapped up the humans with infinite Tsukuyomi in their bodies. However, although infinite Tsukuyomi is enough to illuminate every corner of the ninja world, there is one place that cannot be illuminated. That is Konohagakure. Almost at the moment when infinite Tsukuyomi's light cast down, Nuoda's Konohagakure had erected layers of barriers out of thin air. This enchantment not only contains the power of 6 paths, but also has the pupil power of Luo Hao's reincarnation Sharingan. Not even infinite Tsukuyomi's light can penetrate the barrier. The people of Konohagakure are under the protection of the enchantment, and none of them have infinite Tsukuyomi. There is nothing wrong with Konoha. Hitaki Sakuma opens Tenseigan. Even the white eyes can observe extremely distant things, let alone him with eyes comparable to Otsutsuki Hamura. Even from a long distance, he can clearly see the situation of Konohagakure at this time. This kind of ability, even Rinnegan, even Sengoyu Rinnegan can't match it, and can't do it. This is one of the Tenseigan's strongest abilities, after all. Can't even infinite Tsukuyomi shake him half a point. On the battlefield, Uchiha Madara, who was prostrate on the ground and had already grown half of his body, saw that Luo Hao was not affected by infinite Tsukuyomi at all, and his heart was already cold. He knows what he thought before casting infinite Tsukuyomi has come true. This wave of infinite Tsukuyomi is really his last Uchiha Madara dance. It's all right, Madara-sama. You've done enough. You don't need to worry about Tianrin's affairs anymore, someone will take over the rest for you. Just when Uchiha Madara was disheartened and was about to die, Hailuo finally had a showdown. He revealed himself as the great director of Black Zetsu directly in front of Uchiha Madara. 0 for flowers. But at the moment of the showdown, he also felt heartbroken for Uchiha Madara. In the original time and space, Uchiha Madara, who was kicked by the Emperor Guy, although his strength was greatly damaged, but at least 60% to 70% of his combat power was retained, could only kneel in the face of the great director's heart and soul. Not to mention that Uchiha doesn't even have a good body now. Advertisement. Black Zetsu, are you not my will? Do you know what you're doing? Uchiha Madara's face became extremely ugly. Losing to Luo Hao was already a huge blow. Now being betrayed by Black Zetsu, my mentality exploded on the spot. I am not your will. I am Keigaya's will. Black Zetsu, who has been obsessed with it for more than 1,000 years since he was born, is finally meticulous. Mother is alive. What AFK? What? Keigaya? Uchiha Madara was dumbfounded. Didn't he create Black Zetsu? Why did another Keigaya come out all of a sudden? I have only left the ninja world for a few years. How did it become so strange all of a sudden? Haven't you always been curious and puzzled why the self who became Ten Tails Jinchuriki is far inferior to Tenen's opponent? It's very simple, as Tenen said, you are missing a crucial chakra fruit. And that one chakra fruit was eaten by Keigaya. She is my mother, do you understand? Alright, Ben, your role is over, next up to my mother, Keigaya Haim. The moment Black Zetsu's voice fell, without giving Uchiha Madara a chance to say more, he brazenly performed the technique of resurrecting Keigaya-ji. Yin and Yang escape, spirit possession, assimilation of billions. Advertisement. Chapter 372 Aizen. If the heart is as clear as ice, the sky will not be shocked. Advertisement. Bang. With the appearance of the great director of Black Zetsu, with Uchiha Madara as a sacrifice, the legendary Keigaya Haim finally begins to appear. The sacred tree covering the entire ninja world began to transmit the chakra of those who had infinite Tsukuyomi in their bodies. After receiving such a huge chakra, Uchiha Madara's body, which had not yet grown up, not only grew full instantly, but even because of too much chakra the body began to rapidly expand into a meatball. At the same time, a waterfall of slender hair begins to grow from the top of the meatball. My part is over. Although Uchiha Madara was full of unwillingness, he found that he couldn't move at this time, and he couldn't do anything to Chu Lu. In desperation, he couldn't help looking at Luo Hao, who was standing on the top of the Shinigami tree. Looking at him, he immediately found that Luo Hao was looking at him with relish. There was no surprise in that look, and even a hint of anticipation. Obviously, Luo Hao was not surprised by his situation at all, and even seemed to have expected him to end up like this. Could it be? You knew early on. Uchiha Madara uttered a word with difficulty before the will was completely swallowed. Aren't you dead yet? Consciousness and vitality are really tenacious. As expected of Madara, who made 10 tails Jinchuriki. But what a pity. This kind of vitality that is not commensurate with strength is simply a waste. Luo Hao glanced in surprise at Uchiha Madara, who was still able to speak and hadn't lost consciousness. Tell me, did you know all this early on? Uchiha Madara growled through gritted teeth. Now, the only thing left in his whole body that he can control is this mouth. Well, since you insist so much, it's okay to answer you. Advertisement. For me, whether Obito or you, it's just an appetizer. The staple, but the princess who ate the chakra fruit. And I have been waiting for her. For him now, the ninja world is too boring. Not to mention looking for someone who can dance with him, even if you are looking for someone who can dance in front of him and please him. Kagaya Haim may be the only one and the last one. If even Kagaya G can't do it, then he can only find time to leave the ninja world and find the legendary Otsutsuki family. Maybe the Otsutsuki family, who has planted sacred trees on countless planets for countless years, can dance with him. After all, the water in the ninja world is so deep. Except for Kagaya Haim's family, that's all. The level of others is just as good. Even the Kagaya Haim family can't please him, so no one but the Otsutsuki family. Appetizer. So what was your fight with me just now? Uchiha Madara just feels extremely aggrieved. Black Zetsu calculated him and forget it. Luo Hao actually never looked at him directly from the beginning to the end. He actually only regards his Uchiha Madara as an appetizer, not even qualified to call it a staple food. How does this not annoy him? He is the Konoha dance king. He is Grandpa Madara. Fighting. It seems that you have a wrong understanding of the word combat. Only two people of equal strength fight to the death, that is called fighting. Advertisement. Unfortunately, you do not have this power. So what happened between you and me just now can't be called a battle at all, it can only be called a play at best. Of course, you are not playing, but I am playing. Luo Hao corrects Uchiha Madara's misunderstanding of the word fighting with a smile on his face. But before Uchiha Madara accepted his mistake, Aizen Sosuke in the skirt chat had already covered his ears with his hands, closed his eyes, and started muttering something. Aizen Sosuke. I didn't hear anything. I didn't see anything. Zhang Chulin. Captain Aizen, I have a supernatural skill that is very suitable for you now, and I can give it to you for free. Aizen Sosuke. Say, Zhang Chulin. If your heart is as clear as ice, you won't be surprised when the sky falls. Chu Lan. Don't look at this unique knowledge, which only has 8 characters, but it is guaranteed to be useful. Aizen Sosuke. If the heart is as clear as ice, the sky will not fall. Aizen Sosuke. If the heart is as clear as ice, the sky will not fall. Luo Hao, Whitebeard, Acetus, Mewtwo. Don't care what other people think or think. After constantly chanting about the magical skills given to him by Zhang Chulin in 5.4, Aizen Sosuke found that his heart, which had become extremely irritable after seeing Luo Hao pretending to be aggressive, miraculously calmed down. Damn it, can't you even call it a fight? I am resurrected. What are my efforts all these years? Just when Aizen Sosuke was studying Bing Shinju, the last remaining consciousness of Uchiha Madara was also swallowed up. 0. At the same time, his body, which had swollen into flesh, began to shrink. Under the shroud of chakra, which is as huge as a beam of light, he quickly completed the transformation from male to female. From Madara Lord to Kagaya Haim. Advertisement. Chapter 373. Meeting for the first time, you must be the goddess of Mao. Advertisement. Mother. Black Zetsu, who was hidden in the wide sleeves, looked at Kagaya Haim's cold face, his eyes were full of tears. For thousands of years, he has been cautious and treading on thin ice, isn't it just to resurrect the woman in front of him? All these years of hardships were finally eaten by him. Now Kagaya Haim is finally resurrected. The ninja world is so big that he, Black Zetsu, no longer needs anyone's face. Black Zetsu took a cautious look at Luo Hao. Except Tianren. This pervert who ate the fruit of the god tree like his mother is scarier than Sage of Six Paths. Even if I have my mother behind me, I still can't afford to offend him. Black Zetsu, sorry for you. Kagaya G glanced at Black Zetsu, her white eyes not only pierced Black Zetsu's body, but also pierced Black Zetsu's mind. It was as if she had seen what Black Zetsu had suffered all these years. Mother, the ninja world has changed now. It is no longer the ninja world you are familiar with. Black Zetsu knows that his 30-year-old mother has always been on top, unlike Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura, who, tenfold practice, always fight, always compete. Compared with Tien Ren, who grew up from blood and fire, his mother is like a boudoir princess raised in the palace. Even with an unrivaled chakra and pupil power, but don't know how to control it well. Otherwise, he would not have been sealed by Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura back then. Now facing Luo Hao, who is perverted and better at fighting than Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura, he is afraid that Kagayaji will suffer a big loss if he doesn't know the details. Hamura and Yuya are still alive. Advertisement. No, I can't perceive their chakra anymore. Although Kagayaji has a general sense of combat and is even a little dazed, her strength is beyond doubt. Whether it's the insight of the white eyes, or the overwhelming perception, they are telling her that the two rebellious sons who made her love and hate are no longer there. After all, Hamura is good, Yuya is warm. Although their strength has surpassed the cycle of life and death, their bodies and vitality have not surpassed it. Their strength comes from Kagayaji. The Six Paths brothers who have not eaten the fruit of the god tree will still grow old and die without external intervention. She has been sealed for so many years, and she accepted the death of the two rebels very calmly. Just when Black Zetsu was about to speak, Kagayaji's face changed drastically. After she shuddered, three eyes looked at Luo Hao in the distance and the Shinigami tree at the same time. It's the first time we met, you are the goddess of Mao. Catching Kagayaji's gaze, Luo Hao asked with a smile. Who are you? Why do you have the divine tree and the divine tree fruit? A trace of panic and uneasiness flashed in Kagayaji's eyes. Whether it is the sacred tree or the fruit of the sacred tree, they are all unique to the Otsutsuki family. Especially the fruit of the sacred tree. Even members of the Otsutsuki clan cannot own this thing alone, it must be handed over to the family to refine it into a pill. And didn't she just took possession of the entire fruit of the sacred tree back then, so she was worried. Is it the pursuit of the Shen family? Now what? She actually found someone in the ninja world who had another sacred tree, and even besides her, someone else ate the chakra fruit. Mother, this is the ninja change I told you about. Advertisement. He is Konoha's tenon, and it is very likely that he, like you, came from beyond the starry sky. Black Zetsu poked his head out cautiously. Beyond the stars. Kagayaji didn't dare to neglect, and immediately reached out and pressed Black Zetsu's head. Even Nagato, who got Uchiha Madara Rinnegan, can read other people's memories. Not to mention Kagaya who ate the fruit of the sacred tree. Although now because of the loss of the three-tailed beasts, a large part of chakra has been divided into two brothers, Otsutsuki Yuya and Hamura, and her strength is no longer comparable to the peak period, but the lean camel is better than a horse. If her strength is brought out perfectly, it will not be a problem to crush the Six Paths brothers at their peak. Reading Black Zetsu's memory, this little thing is so simple for her, it couldn't be easier. Is this the person Luo Hao has been waiting for? Just when Wei 600 Yi read Black Zetsu's memory to understand everything about Luo Hao, Tsunade in the distance stared at her firmly. The fourth generation didn't wipe out the Ninja Alliance, Akatsuki, and Uchiha Madara and Obito with a thunderbolt just because they were waiting for her. A trace of cold sweat broke out on Nara Shoujo's forehead. Although he has eyes comparable to Sage of Six Paths, it doesn't mean he has strength comparable to Sage of Six Paths. No matter it is chakra, he is far from Sage of Six Paths in all aspects of magic. Except that Rinnegan's pupil power is comparable to the Sage of Six Paths when he did not become Ten Tails Jinchuriki, the others are far inferior to Six Paths. Facing chakra's frighteningly huge Kagayaji, he naturally felt a lot of pressure. Surely terrifying. He should be the same as Master Fourth Generation. Those who have eaten chakra fruit. The source of the chakra that we all have in the ninja world. Hitaki Tsukumo took a deep breath. Just now, Tsunade has popularized Kagaya's background to all of them. Advertisement. Chapter 374 I'm not just waiting for you, I'm waiting for your family. Advertisement. For this goddess who ate the chakra fruit like Luo Hao, Tsunade and others dare not underestimate it. The only one who can calmly face Kagayaji is Luo Hao. Others, even Tsunade holding Ryujin Jaka are extremely afraid of Kagayaji in their hearts. Because even she is not sure that Ryujin Jaka can kill Kagayaji. So far, no one has been able to kill Kagayaji. Even the Six Paths brothers could only use the sealing method to deal with Kagayaji. Your target is her. I just don't know if you simply want to fight her, or are you eyeing her chakra fruit. If it's the former, it's fine, but if it's the latter, I'm sure there will be a lot of trouble. Tsunade glanced at Luo Hao. As Luo Hao's favorite performance sports car, she knows exactly what her driver thinks. After waiting for so long, let Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Obito jump around, definitely not just to revive Kagayaji for my own pleasure. She guessed that Luo Hao was most likely eyeing Kagayaji's fruit of the sacred tree. She is very clear about the situation in the ninja world and the undercurrent hidden behind the ninja world. The seemingly dead Sage of Six Paths brothers aren't necessarily dead. If Luo Hao really took the chakra fruit, would the dead Six Paths brothers really sit back and watch their mother be killed? Will you really sit back and watch Luo Hao read the chakra fruit? None of these Tsunades are sure. After all, Brother Six Paths can accept himself and others to seal his mother, but it doesn't mean he can accept others to kill his mother. Kill and seal, life and death. This is a completely different result. Could it be? I knew Luo Hao was very restless since he was a child. Advertisement. I didn't expect him to have such an idea. Thinking of the Six Paths brothers, a thought popped into Tsunade's mind in vain. She finally knows. It turned out that the driver's idea was actually this. No wonder I've been waiting for Kagayaji. Dancing with Kagayaji is the purpose. It is also the goal to keep an eye on Kagayaji's chakra fruit. But in addition to the two, there is a third purpose. It wasn't until this moment that she figured out the real reason why Luo Hao sat back and watched Hokage come back to life. I see. Actually, by tracing back the history of the ninja world, a sacred tree was created from scratch. Unexpectedly, the ninja world would produce a human being who was even more talented than Yuya and Hamura. Simply incredible. In just a few seconds, through Black Zetsu's memory, Kagayaji's face was full of emotion after finding out the background of Luo Hao. You know, even her two sons are only heirs. Discovered the essence and usage of chakra. Not a creator. Even though she, a member of the Otsutsuki family, planted a sacred tree in the ninja world, it was also researched by the Otsutsuki family for countless years, and it has something to do with her. And what about Luo Hao? He actually created the second sacred tree by himself. And from Black Zetsu's memory, she can know that this sacred tree is stronger than hers, and the time from birth to the birth of the chakra fruit is extremely short. At least even Black Zetsu, who has been lurking in the ninja world for countless years, can't find out when Luo Hao created such a powerful tree. But the only thing that is certain is that Luo Hao must have taken very little time to make this sacred tree. You have been waiting for me. Advertisement. After browsing through the memories of Black Zetsu and understanding everything that happened during the Fourth World War, Kagayaji realized it in his heart. Luo Hao was after her from the beginning. So whether it is the ninja allied forces and Akatsuki teaming up to seal the tailed beast into the ghetto statue, or Uchiha Obito becoming Ten Tails Jinchuriki, Black Zetsu controlling Nagato to revive Uchiha Madara, or even Black Zetsu poking his heart out at Uchiha Madara, Luo Hao just stands still watching from the side. Never meant to stop. Backquote that's 1/3 right. I'm not just waiting for you, I'm waiting for your family. Luo Hao shook his head. Kagayaji has been resurrected. There was no need for him to hide anymore. Of course, he didn't hide it in a hurry, but he didn't say it deliberately, and there was no need to tell anyone his plan. You're after me, chakra fruit. No, you're eyeing Yuya's chakra. Kagayaji's face turned cold. Chakra fruit is her taboo. Yukun and Yuya are her sons, although these two sons are rebellious sons, but she is a tigress who protects the calf after all. She can beat and kill this son, but that doesn't mean she allows others to beat and kill him. Luo Hao didn't hide his thoughts at all, but he touched her nirvana. Don't just talk about me. Don't you have your eye on my chakra fruit? Luo Hao asked back. Kagayaheim is silent. After realizing that Luo Hao, like her, is a person who ate the fruit of the sacred tree, or the fruit of chakra, a thought came to her mind. Take Luo Hao's chakra for yourself. In this way, she doesn't need to make White Zetsu, and she doesn't need to recover chakra from the ninja world, and even Yuya and Hamura are against her, so it doesn't matter if they don't help her. Advertisement. Chapter 375 Kagayaji, Let Me Dance. Advertisement. With Luo Hao's chakra, even if people from the Otsutsuki clan came to find her, they would just form a group to die. Even if she is not good at fighting, she can wipe out the invaders of the Otsutsuki clan with her absolute strength. After that, she only needs to continue planting the third sacred tree in the ninja world, while continuing to wait for the Otsutsuki clan to send people to die. She no longer needs to live in fear all day long like she did thousands of years ago. Well said. I am indeed eyeing your chakra. Kagayaji took a deep breath and admitted what Luo Hao said. As long as you are willing to hand over chakra, I can give you the futon of the ninja world. At that time, you can completely replant the sacred tree and give birth to new chakra fruits. I can shelter you until you get the new chakra fruit. Through the memory of Black Zetsu, Kagayaji also knows the strength of Luo Hao. She didn't choose to act recklessly at the first time, but instead negotiated with Luo Hao. But this so-called negotiation is what she thinks. In fact, in the eyes of Hitaki Sakumo and others, she is asking Luo 897 how for the chakra fruit. Hehe, although your suggestion is good, why don't you listen to my suggestion too? Through the memory of Black Zetsu, I think you also know the speed at which I plant the god tree. As long as you hand over a chakra, how about I help you replant a sacred tree? Luo Hao said with a half smile. So there's nothing to talk about. Kagayaji's eyes gradually turned cold. How she exists. Goddess of Mao. From the time I came to the ninja world until now, I have always been a high-ranking and domineering existence. Advertisement. In her opinion, it is already a kind of gift for her to communicate with Luo Hao just now. If Luo Hao hadn't eaten the chakra fruit and her strength made her afraid, she would have done it directly. Have to say, it's not for nothing that the Six Paths sons and their descendants love the civil war so much. This kind of poor communication and negotiation is obviously inherited from the Kagayaji family. Kagayaji fell out with Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura back then, didn't he just not put down his posture and communicate well? If Six Paths and Hamura knew that Kagayaheim did this because she was afraid that the Otsutsuki clan would kill her, would the two brothers still seal their mother? Obviously not. For the ninja world, the Six Paths brothers can fight Kagayaheim who is crazy in their eyes. Similarly, for the sake of their mother, the Six Paths brothers can naturally fight against the Otsutsuki clan. Unfortunately, there are not so many ifs in the ninja world. If so, the Kagaya family would not have been fighting among themselves for thousands of years. Do you think you're talking to me? Hearing this, Luo Hao felt it was funny. A person who has never met, asks you to hand over your entire wealth, even your life, and pretends to be a gift. Is this a negotiation? This is a typical murder for money, okay. In that case, speak with your fists. Kagayaji paused word by word. If the negotiation fails, use your fists to get through. Her meaning couldn't be more obvious. After Konoha Dance King retired, it was time for Kagayaji to dance. IDACB have been waiting for you for a long time. Advertisement. Don't let me down, you know goddess. Luo Hao nodded happily. From the very beginning, he had no intention of negotiating with Kagayaheim. Even communication is only intended to communicate with fists. How can a Uno goddess who can even quarrel with her own sons, and even quarrel with two of her own sons at once, communicate? Fists are the only way to communicate. Mother, be careful. Before Tenon got the chakra fruit, his strength was no less than that of Yuya and Hamura. He is very good at time and space ninjutsu. Once the Flying Thunder God technique is used, as long as it is within his perception range, he can travel through space at will. In addition, he is also a grandmaster of all mainstream ninjutsu, with the ability to shatter space and manipulate light. I have to say, Black Zetsu has really worked hard these years. He obviously guessed that Kagayaji might face Luo Hao after his resurrection. These years can be described as painstakingly recording all the information about Luo Hao. It is estimated that the records about Luo Hao in his little book are more detailed than Aizen Sosuke in the skirt chat. But all the abilities that Luo Hao has displayed in the ninja world, whether it is the devil fruit or the chakra system, Black Zetsu has recorded them in his small notebook. I see. Kagayaheim didn't float away when Yuya and Hamura died like Hara Tokunori did. After breaking away from the seal, she read Black Zetsu's memory for the first time, and clearly understood the strength of Luo Hao. Yachigami Sky Strike. Thinking that Luo Hao also mastered time and space ninjutsu, Kagaya did not immediately use the pupil technique of reincarnation Sharingan, but opened her eyes, and raised her hand to see a wave of fist shadows covering the sky of the ninja world. Although she lacks combat experience and poor combat awareness, she is definitely not an idiot. After knowing Luo Hao's ability through Black Zetsu's memory, she regards Luo Hao as the greatest opponent in her life. During the battle, every action and every choice she made was very careful. Advertisement. Chapter 376 The Origin of Tenon. Splitting the Kingdom of Rain with one foot. Advertisement. Facing a strong man who ate the fruit of the sacred tree like himself and is better at fighting than himself, Kagayaji naturally has no possibility of underestimating the enemy and being arrogant. If you don't make a move, it's fine. Once she makes a move, she will do her best. Raising his hand, a wave of Yashigami air strikes, hitting the sky of the ninja world until it shakes like a Buddha. Any fist is earth-shattering. Not to mention the perfect Susanoo, even if it is Lugoyu Rinnegan's display, even the Susanoo performed by Ten Tails Jinchuriki Uchiha Madara can almost explode with one punch. Not to mention such a chakra fist, Kagayaji did not just punch one punch, but hundreds of punches, covering the sky and covering the sky. Combined with Bayan's super powerful pupils who can see everything at 360 degrees, no one can hide. Good. Facing Kagayaji's Yashishin air attack, Luo Hao smiled instead of being surprised. He had no intention of dodging at all, instead he jumped away from the top of the Shinigami tree, and took the initiative to meet Kagayaji's chakra fist. How long? That's when Yamamoto Genryusai allowed him to stretch his muscles a little bit. But now, the power displayed by Kagayaji made his blood boil for a long time. Although the intensity of the boiling was not great, it managed to attract his attention. At least it gave Luo Hao the idea of going off in person. Whether facing Uchiha Obito, or Uchiha Madara, he has no intention of ending. So the battle is basically playing. Randomly release one or two abilities to play with the opponent in the palm of your hand. But now, the moment Kagayaji did it, he really had the idea of doing it. It is precisely because of the thought of doing it, he did not use the Shinigami tree, nor did he use the ability of Devil Fruit or Time-Space Ninjutsu to dodge. Doesn't Kagayaji want to be tough with him? Then he will be tough. Kagayaheim with fists. Advertisement. He hit back with a harder fist. 8 Inner Gates mode on. Luo Hao let out a low cry, and his whole body burned with bloody chakra. It's different from the Might Guy who was panting heavily and his blood vessels swelled after opening the 8th gate. He turned on the 8 Inner Gates mode, except for the ignited bloody chakra, his breathing was steady, and his blood vessels were the same as usual. Obviously, this state is like Sage mode, which can be turned on anytime, anywhere, as simple as eating and drinking. There is no burden at all. Coming. Almost the moment Luo Hao turned on the 8 Inner Gates mode, Might Guy, who was watching the battle in the distance, was so excited that he jumped up. He actually opened the 7th gate of 8 Inner Gates on the spot. People who didn't know thought he was going to fight. In fact, he was pure excitement. The teacher finally used his housekeeping skills again. Overcome the mighty power of the 8 Inner Gates formation. 8 Inner Gates mode. Looking at Luo Hao, who has completed the dead gate of 8 Inner Gates and played Yi Guy into a Taie, Might Guy's eyes are full of yearning. 8 Inner Gates mode is what he has been trying to catch up to. It's a pity that now he can't even control the gate of death completely, so naturally he can't stay in the state where the 8 gates are fully open for a long time without physical and psychological burden like Luo Hao. Long time. Nara Dear Ju flashed a trace of nostalgia. When he first saw Luo Hao displaying this kind of power, he was astonished. This is Luo Hao in this state. It's a punch in this state. Advertisement. Directly established the name of Mu Yi Tian Ninja. It was also this punch that made the proud 4 great ninja villages bow their heads, and made all the strong in the ninja world unable to lift their heads. 0 for flowers. If the statues left by Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama in the Valley of the End created a Valley of the End in World War I to remind countless people, then Luo Hao, who entered the 8 Inner Gates mode for the first time, smashed the entire Land of Rain with one kick dividing into two as to suppress the entire ninja world. Akatsuki organizes himself as God Pain. Get the Obito of the Uchiha Madara heritage. Gold glitter Namikaze Minato. Wooden Yi Baya Hataki Sakumo. Waiting for countless powerhouses, they were all subdued after witnessing the punch of Luo Hao in 8 Inner Gates mode. 0. It was also after that Luo Hao almost blocked his fists and feet in the ninja world. Never enter 8 Inner Gates mode again, and kick the kick that splits the entire kingdom of Rain in two. Afterwards, no matter what opponent he faced, Luo Hao just used the Flying Thunder God technique, using the regular yin-yang and 5 elements, and he was invincible all over the world. His actions seemed to be telling the whole ninja world one thing. Although the ninja world is big, no one is worthy of him. And now, the familiar 8 Inner Gates pattern is back. Due to the emergence of Kage, the ancestor of chakra, he came to the ninja world again. Mother, be careful, that's 8 Inner Gates mode. Tenon, who hadn't eaten the chakra fruit back then, had just debuted and kicked the kingdom of Rain in half in this state. Now his strength is countless times stronger than back then, entering this mode again will definitely be much stronger than back then. Black Zetsu was apparently also one of the witnesses when Luo Hao used the 8 Inner Gates mode. Luo Hao has just entered the 8 Inner Gates mode, and before he punches or raises his feet, he is so anxious that he is sweating profusely. Advertisement. Chapter 377 Gang vs. Gang. Yashigami Kongji vs Shishiong. Advertisement. Facing the 8 Inner Gates mode, Black Zetsu can't help but take it easy. When he was collecting information on the ninja world in the Land of Rain, he almost died under Luo Hao's feet. Fine. Not sure if Otsutsuki Kagaya bless him. The aftermath of Luo Hao's kick finally narrowly missed him. Otherwise, Black Zetsu would have gone to the world of the dead to meet his eldest brother Sage of Six Paths and second brother Otsutsuki Hamura in World War II. It was also when he was almost killed by the aftermath caused by Luo Hao's kick. Black Zetsu still remembers the 8 Inner Gates mode fresh. 8 Inner Gates mode. Kagaya. 8:30. Ji's white eyes flashed with apprehension. She has read Black Zetsu's memory. Even if Black Zetsu didn't remind her, she can still recognize the ability that Luo Hao is displaying now. Sunset. With chakra fists all over the sky, Luo Hao didn't use the pupil technique of reincarnation Sharingan, and didn't use the power system he learned from traveling around other worlds. Instead, I chose to use the famous stunt that was rarely used after gaining the name of Tenon, the most simple and unpretentious 8 Inner Gates mode. After entering the 8 Inner Gates mode, he smashed his fists like a storm. Every punch made the void in the ninja world shake continuously, and Fang Buddha would collapse at will. With every punch, the entire country of fire, not even the skies of several countries around the country of fire, were divided in the middle. Every time a punch falls, an air cannon will burst out from the void, piercing through the earth and splitting the sea. After the air cannons are gathered together, they form a terrifying elephant foot that pierces the sky and earth, and can trample everything in the world under its feet. Kagaya's Yashigami empty strike is indeed earth-shattering. Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke, who have acquired the power of Sage of Six Paths, can only avoid their edge, and they cannot compete at all. But now, Kagaya Heime's 80 God Sky attack just started, and the evening scene after he turned on the 8 Inner Gates mode is even better. Advertisement. In front of Luo Hao's Shishiong, Chakra's fist, which is densely covered with void, was trampled, suppressed, and finally smashed into nothingness. However, the short fist confrontation between the two caused a storm like a storm in the ninja world. The Konoha shinobi players in the distance didn't even have the qualifications to fight, and they were all blown away in an instant. 4 Red Yang formation. Seeing that Luo Hao and Kagaya's mere momentary confrontation caused the aftermath that swept across the Fire Nation, Hataki Sakumo and others did not dare to neglect, and immediately joined forces to perform 4 Red Yang formation to protect tens of thousands of Konoha shinobi. The ancestor of chakra, well-deserved reputation. Namikaze Minato stared at Kagaya Haime with the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan open, and let out a heartfelt exclamation. Although Uchiha Madara is 10 tails Jinchuriki, his chakra is really far from Kagaya. Nara Shikahisa said in disbelief. If he hadn't seen it with his own eyes, he really couldn't believe that besides Luo Hao, there is actually someone in the ninja world who can master such a huge chakra. Moreover, this person can actually face Luo Hao head to head. This is something he never thought of. How strong the 8 Inner Gates mode is, as one of the eyewitnesses back then, he knows better than anyone else. Even if Luo Hao hasn't really done it yet, he just used a simple image. But with the power of the fist, it is not a problem to penetrate the sky and destroy a country. But with this level of punching power, Kagaya can still fight head-on. That's all. The ancestor of chakra has already lived up to its reputation. No wonder you've been waiting for her. The goddess of Mao, it really is not easy. Tsunade took a deep look at Kagaya Haime. As a woman, she can see clearly than anyone else. Advertisement. She knows that Kagaya's strength is far more than what is shown now. After a short period of observation, she realized that Kagaya is too pampered. That unbelievably powerful power can hardly be brought into full play in battle. 0. But these are not a problem for Tsunade. What is difficult to cultivate is always strength. As for the means of using power, is it difficult to obtain combat awareness and experience after having power? At least from Tsunade's point of view, it couldn't be easier. Find a few and play a few more games. Use reincarnation Sharingan to copy and learn, and you can learn how to fight in just a few days. Unfortunately, this is an easy thing for Tsunade, but it is really difficult for Kagaya-ji. This is also a common problem of the Otsutsuki clan. Practice, only you can become stronger. After thousands of years, there are few 4.0 chances to make a few shots. Even if he makes a move, he basically crushes the enemy. It is also true that the vast majority of Otsutsuki clan members are the same as Kagaya-ji, who have unimaginable power but cannot fully display it in battle. Just look at Kagaya-hime. After thousands of years, there are only a handful of battles experienced. Hit the sun once and it's gone. This makes Kagaya-ji how to learn to fight, how to improve combat experience, skills, awareness. In this regard, Black Zetsu is also very clear. So, he had already figured out how to deal with it before resurrecting Kagaya-hime. Advertisement. Chapter 378 To learn to fight, learn to be beaten first. Advertisement. Mom, you have to pay attention. This man walked out of the battlefield of blood and fire. It can be said that he is not only the most talented human being in the ninja world, but also the best fighting human being in the ninja world. When you fight him, remember to use reincarnation Sharingan to copy and learn his fighting style. Black Zetsu immediately suggested after seeing that Kagaya-ji's Yashigami air attack did not make any achievements. It's different from when Kagaya-hime faced Uzumaki Naruto, Uchiha Sasuke. Facing Naruto and Sasuke who got the power of Sage of Six Paths, Black Zetsu doesn't care much. In his opinion, even if Kagaya-ji is not good at fighting, she can completely crush these two with her absolute strength. Facing Luo Hao, Black Zetsu couldn't be more cautious. As early as in the Kingdom of Rain, after he saw Luo Hao splitting the country from Yigai, he quietly unloaded a very comprehensive battle plan to deal with Luo Hao. This plan fully records how Kagaya will fight Luo Hao BC in the battle. Although Black Zetsu did not inherit the powerful power from Kagaya-ji like the Sage of Six Paths brothers, he did inherit the Sage of Six Paths brothers and did not inherit the lifespan. Having survived for more than 1,000 years, having witnessed countless battles in the ninja world, and reading countless movies, he has long since reached the state where he has eyes but no heart. If you want him to fight, he is powerless. But if you want him to give advice to Kagaya-ji, there is absolutely no problem. It is good. After being sealed last time, Kagaya-ji also knows her own shortcomings. In the face of enemies whose strength is far inferior to hers, she can still crush them with absolute strength. But facing people who ate the chakra fruit like herself, she is powerless. In this case, she naturally wouldn't act like a goddess. Instead, he humbly accepted Black Zetsu's suggestion. Learn from me. Advertisement. The corners of Luo Hao's mouth raised slightly, and he thought to himself. This Black Zetsu isn't stupid either. Know your mother's flaws. Think of a countermeasure early on. But, Kagaya-ji's ability is too powerful. If she had chosen to fight steadily in the two battles with the Six Paths brothers, as well as Naruto and Sasuke in the original time and space, and dealt with the opponent with the pupil power of the reincarnation Sharingan, and slowly learned the fighting ability of these four, she would have completely crushed the opponent. Where will seize the opportunity to be sealed by the Six Paths brothers and Uzumaki Naruto, Sasuke one after another. After all, Kagaya-ji is too self-important. But when facing herself, Kagaya-ji, who has no self-esteemed high qualifications, must be cautious and careful in order to win and keep the chakra fruit. After all, losing to his own son, losing to Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke is just being sealed, and there is no danger to himself. But if you lose to Luo Hao, you will not only lose the chakra fruit, but you may even die. When life is threatened and the chakra fruit, which is regarded as the reverse scale, may be taken away, Kagaya-ji will do everything possible. As long as she can win, she is willing to do anything. Not to mention just copying Luo Hao's combat skills with the reincarnation Sharingan. Follow me. Do you know what it means to learn to fight, to learn to be beaten first? Sensing that Kagaya-ji is playing steadily and wants to make up for her own shortcomings, Luo Hao doesn't care. I saw him flash in depth, like rain. Under the bursts of loud noises that exploded the void, shock waves that were more powerful than the air cannon just now crossed the void, forming a huge elephant foot to step on Kagaya-ji. God Tree Realm comes. The reincarnation of Kagaya-ji's forehead Sharingan blooms with terrifying pupil power. Advertisement. Earthquake. Towering giant trees rose from the ground, forming a forest that covered the sky and sun, straddling in front of him, forming a protective shield. However, the moment her tree realm appeared, she was trampled into powder by Luo Hao's evening image. 80 gods. At this time, she wanted to use Yashishin Kong's strike to intercept, but it was already too late. Before she could strike her fist, she had already been hit by the elephant foot-shaped shock wave and crushed hard on the land of the ninja world. Mother. Faced with this blow, not only Kagaya-hime was beaten, but also Black Zetsu. Really, 040 it depends on the person if you want to learn and sell now. It's really not easy for Kagaya-ji who has no roots. After all, in just 1 second for ordinary people, there are too many things that people at the level of Luo Hao and Kagaya-ji can do. If you want to use reincarnation Sharingan to copy, learning is not impossible. But the process can be painful. Beating is essential. Aren't you going to learn from me? How do you learn so slowly? Don't be beaten to death by me before you learn it well. Luo Hao took a step forward, and the person had turned into a blood-colored rainbow and came to the sky of the deep pit where Kagaiji was lying, and when he raised his hand to send a sunset image, the surrounding space suddenly changed dramatically. With a wave of overwhelming cold sweeping over, the ninja world in front of me has turned into a world of ice and snow. The imperial center of the sky. At the same time, Kagaiji, who was lying in the pit of God, had a pair of white eyes widened and a blood-red reincarnation Sharingan. At some point. Advertisement. Chapter 379 Heavens Yuzhong vs Heavens Yuzhong. Advertisement. Is it in the Imperial Court of Heaven? Luo Hao's eyes flickered slightly. He is extremely familiar with this pupil technique. Not only because he already knew that Kagaiji had this trick, but also because he can use this trick even if he has opened a pair of reincarnation Sharingan. Kagaiji can pull him into the space of Yuzhong, and he can also pull Kagaiji into his own space in turn. When two people who have mastered the heavenly control center at the same time confront each other, the competition is the power of the pupils. However, he did not compete with Kagaiji with his pupil power, instead he just showed the most unpretentious physical skills in 8 Inner Gates mode. Die. After a wave of Shishong, although he will not die, it will hurt. The hurt Kagaiji pulled Luo Hao into the ice and snow space, and immediately activated the ability of natural integration. Under the will of Kagaiji, the whole world of ice and snow was actually hardened. Tianji Yuzhong is the iconic pupil technique of reincarnation Sharingan. Naturally, it is not as simple as pulling people into 6 spaces. In fact, all spaces can be absolutely controlled by the master of the Royal Palace of Heaven. This is the so-called natural integration ability. It's just that Kagaiji herself can't use this kind of power that can be called a god. If she knows how to use it, let alone facing Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke who only got the power of Sage of 6 Paths, even facing the Brothers of 6 Paths, she can crush these people just by using the ability of the heavenly control and the integration of nature it's crushing. You can manipulate the 6 spaces together as you like. What a terrifying power this is. It is not an exaggeration to say that it is the power of God. Pity. What a waste of Kagaiji. Possess such a powerful pupil technique, but don't know how to use it. Instead, most of the time, they just want to escape for their lives. Advertisement. I have to say that Kagaiji who has not experienced the baptism of blood and fire is really a dish. This dish is not a dish of strength, but a dish of fighting qualities. Is this how you use the Imperial Palace of Heaven? Looking at Kagaiji's will, the ice and snow space rolled up countless sharp icicles and stabbed towards him. Luo Hao couldn't help shaking his head. No wonder Kagaiji was taught by Black Zetsu when he played Naruto and Sasuke. This fighting quality is really good. This made him, who also has the reincarnation Sharingan, a little bit unbearable to look at. Who are you hitting with this attack? Nuota's ice and snow space is up to you to control, you can use it as you want in a second, and you ended up with such a pile of ice thorns. Boom. While lamenting that Kagaiji really can't fight, Luo Hao raised his hand and swept it away. Shishong, who was going straight, was actually turned into a turn. The huge elephant foot shock wave is like an elephant's trunk, and it is like a long whip. Swinging in the sky, it easily swept the oncoming ice thorns into ice chips. Let me teach you how to use the Royal Palace of Heaven. Luo Hao, who didn't plan to use the pupil technique, was really stimulated by Kagaiji's hot eyes. I saw a golden light suddenly blooming from his pitch-black pupils. Immediately afterwards, the black pupils on a white background have turned into a pair of local tyrant gold reincarnation Sharingan. Reincarnation Sharingan. It turned out to be a pair. When Kagaiji saw this scene, her face paled in shock. She ate the complete fruit of the sacred tree, and she is still a member of the Otsutsuki family, but she just opened a reincarnation Sharingan. But now, Luo Hao not only opened a pair, but also a golden reincarnation Sharingan. Advertisement. Just a glance from a distance, she could feel Luo Hao's pair of golden reincarnation Sharingan, even if she took out one alone, the pupil power was higher than his bloody reincarnation Sharingan. How so? What surprised her even more was yet to come. What's wrong, mother? Black Zetsu sensed Kagaiji's panic, and while stabilizing Kagaiji's mind, he asked. My celestial palace is out of control. I just tried to use the ability of natural integration to control the ice and snow space, but found that the ice and snow space is not under my control. Kagaiji's cool and pretty face can no longer maintain the force of a goddess. Royal Palace of Heaven. This is the capital of her life. Now take control. How is this possible? Yuzhong of Heaven is your space, mother. Logically speaking, no one can seize this control, even those who also have reincarnation Sharingan. Wait, mother, since Tianren has reincarnation, Li Dezhao Sharingan, will he also be able to use Tianji Yuzhong? Black Zetsu's voice paused, and there was a touch of suspicion in his tone. He has a pair of reincarnation Sharingan, and the pupil power is still higher than mine. I can use Heaven's Imperial Center, so in theory, he should be able to too. Kagaiji's pupils shrank, and then he came to his senses. Have you finally reacted? That's right, it looks like nothing has changed here, but in fact it is no longer the ice and snow space under the jurisdiction of your Heavenly Imperial Center. It's my ice and snow space. It's just that in order to confuse the real ones, I deliberately made my ice and snow space the same as your ice and snow space. Luo Hao looked down at Kagaiji. Advertisement. Chapter 380 Here, I am God. I said. Advertisement. Your ice and snow space. When Kagaiji heard this, his complexion changed drastically. Good. You don't want to learn from me, so I won't teach gymnastics, let you learn from this trick first. The 6 spaces in Yuji Yu are not just for you to escape for your life. Instead, it must be matched with natural integration to control it like this. As soon as Luo Hao finished speaking, his will shrouded the entire ice and snow space. In this space, he is God. God of ice and snow. Puff. Kagayaji, who was lying in the ice pit, immediately noticed something was wrong. But before she was suspended from the ice pit, countless ice and snow blades protruded from the ground of the ice and snow world. Mom, get up. Black Zetsu's complexion changed drastically. But before he could utter his words, Kagayaji was already turned into a hedgehog by countless ice thorns that came suddenly. Go away. Kagayaji is worthy of being the ancestor of chakra. Almost immortal. Although I was stabbed 130 times and turned into a hedgehog, it only hurt, not even a little blood flowed out. She let out a low cry, and with her body as the center, circles of air ripples visible to the naked eye rippled out. All the ice and snow blades that pierced him were broken. But just when she was about to soar into the sky, a big icy hand that was bigger than a mountain, like the palm of a Buddha god, grabbed her body suddenly. Bang! At the same time, a moon-sized sphere of ice and snow suddenly appeared in the sky of the ice and snow space, and then smashed down under Kagayaji's astonished expression. Under a loud noise, Kagayaji was directly crushed deeply on the ice ground by the ice and snow sphere. Advertisement. This blow directly rippled out the cold ripples that swept across the entire ice and snow space. Here, I am God. I say it. At this moment, Luo Hao is like a god aloft. Although he still maintained the 8 inner gates mode, he didn't use his abilities other than Heaven's Imperial Center at all. Just standing in the air, crushing the ancestor of chakra with just his will. This is just the first step. After his words fell, he was smashed to pieces, and Kagaya, who had just recovered, was shocked to find that the space in front of him suddenly changed. From the ice and snow space that was bitingly cold, even she couldn't bear it a little bit, into a lava space that is so hot that it can burn everything up. Kagayaji, who was originally lying in the ice and snow, naturally became lying on the lava. Hiss. With the smell and sound of barbecue, Kagayaji couldn't help but let out a muffled snort. She is indeed immortal after eating the fruit of the divine tree, but that doesn't mean she won't suffer from pain. When the attack is strong enough, she will still be in pain. Like now, the whole body was lying in the endless lava sea of fire, and it was a sign of her willpower not to scream. Mom, get out of here. Tenen's attack is coming soon. There is definitely something wrong with this lava space. Black Zetsu said anxiously. He doesn't care. As the third son of Kagayaji, his existence is quite special. As long as Kagayaji does not die, then he will not die. Even if he is burned to death by magma, he can be resurrected again. Not to mention, now he is well protected by Kagayaji. Lying in the lava, apart from feeling the heat, there is no harm. Advertisement. Mother, the memories you have seen. Then you should know that the Hyuga family has a trick called Revolving Heaven's Gentle Fist. Although the gentle fists of the Hyuga clan are nothing compared to your mother's body skills, but I have to say, maybe it's because of their weakness. So the Revolving Heaven developed by the Hyuga clan has some effect. At least if it is used by you, mother, it will immediately become an earth-shattering blood trap. Thinking that Luo Hao owns the imperial center of the sky and can manipulate the entire space to deal with Kagayaji. At this time, the technique of defense becomes very important. The ninja world has developed for so many years, although the strength and chakra are not as good as the previous generation, but the use is far better than the ancient times of the ninja world. Isn't all kinds of unpredictable techniques the use of chakra? Isn't it fighting skills? Revolving Heaven. In the hands of the Hyuga family, it is only one of the 8 trigrams palms developed by the family now. Looking at the ninja world, the power is just average. But if it falls into the hands of Kagayaji, the effect will be great. I see. Kagayaji recalled the 8 trigrams palms Revolving Heaven in Black Zetsu's memory, and her eyes flashed brightly. She turned her body around, and the chakra in her body was released along the acupuncture points all over her body. During the Setsuna, a chakra tornado piercing the sky immediately swept all the magma away, and then rushed into the sky of the lava space. Such is the horror of the chakra ancestors. This is the privilege of those who eat the fruit of chakra. You only need to read or know a certain technique, and you can immediately perform it in the same way. And the power is terrifying far better than the original version. Like 8 trigrams palms Revolving Heaven. When Hyuga Hiyashi casts it, Dingtian also rolls out a circle with a radius of 10 meters. But what about Kagaya Haim? Follow the same pattern. Even if it is the first time to use it, it will directly roll out a chakra tornado that ignores the lava sea of fire, and even pierces the sky. Advertisement. Chapter 381 Goddess of Mao, you finally look good. Advertisement. There is progress. Looking at the chakra tornado made by Kagayaji in front of him, Luo Hao smiled. He saw it right away. Kagaya Haim is currently using the 8 trigrams palms Revolving Heaven of the Hyuga clan. The ordinary Revolving Heaven falls into the hands of Kagaya Haim. The power is astounding. This momentum is so great that it is not inferior to Yashigami Skystrike. I watched Black Zetsu's memory, so learned this trick. Although there is progress, it is still far from enough. Luo Hao narrowed his eyes slightly. The terrifying pupil power erupted suddenly. The lava space rioted instantly. The extremely calm lava sea instantly rolled up a 1,000-meter lava wave, slapping and swallowing Kagayaji's, revolving heaven frantically. At the same time, on the other side of the sea of lava, a 1,000-meter-high giant made entirely of lava rose from the sea, and then held a long lava knife and smashed Kagayaji's revolving heaven with a single stroke. Mother, use Susanoo. You own the Sharingan. Even Indra's Sharingan comes from your blood. You can fully cast Susanoo, and it is a Susanoo beyond the full body. Seeing that Kagayaji was about to be chopped into the lava tsunami that swept up to 1,000 meters high, Black Zetsu shouted hastily. Susanoo. The reincarnation of Kagayaji's forehead. The 9 hook jades in the Sharingan rotate at the same time. A chakra giant that is as bright as blood and full of fury as from bone to flesh, and finally puts on the chakra armor. Advertisement. Done just in Setsuna. As soon as this blood-red Susanoo appeared, he blocked the lava fire knife held by the lava giant with a knife. Goddess of Mao, you finally look good. The smile on Luo Hao's face is getting brighter. Sure enough, life will grow rapidly only under heavy pressure. People are so. God is no exception. Meeting the unkillable Six Paths brothers, Uzumaki Naruto and Uchiha Sasuke, Kagayaji still didn't make any progress. But in the face of herself who could threaten her own life and even be robbed of the chakra fruit, Kagayaji is like an excellent piece of jade in the rough. Under his carving again and again, he is constantly moving towards the rare treasure. It is also like the raw material for forging a magic weapon. Under his repeated tempering, it quickly turns into a peerless sword. After all, if you win, you will die, so Kagayaji does not do everything to become stronger. To be precise, it is to do everything to master and use one's own power. In order to become stronger, ninjas can only practice. In order to become stronger, Kagayaji only needs to master the pupil power and chakra proficiently. It's not over yet. After a round of beatings, Kagayaji started to feel like he was playing. Under Luo Hao's high pressure, she seemed to have found the feeling, and gradually understood how to use her pupil power and chakra. She has summoned a blood-red Susanoo whose size is no less than 10 tails and whose destructive power is stronger than Susanoo who absorbs Uchiha Sasuke and absorbs 9-tail beast's chakra. She is not satisfied. In this lava space, a huge Senju Buddha was actually created out of thin air. Immediately afterwards, she turned the blood-red Susanoo, who was no smaller than 10 tails and completely surpassed the category of the perfect body, into a set of huge chakra armor, and smashed it on the body of the Senju giant Buddha. Whether it is the body of the Senju giant Buddha or the 3,000 giant arms behind it, which makes people look desperate, they are all covered with blood-red chakra armor. Advertisement. Ask for flowers. Even more frightening is yet to come. When True several thousand hands was armed to the teeth by the ultimate Susanoo, Kagayaji once again burst out with her pupil power of the reincarnation Sharingan, which is second only to Luo Hao in the ninja world. Sheila. With a burst of blood-red light illuminating the lava space, it burst out. The palms of the 3,000 arms of the Senju giant Buddha were all opened, and then they shook the air. One after another, blood-red chakra long knives appeared out of thin air like a knife array, and then were mastered by Shangju Buddha's Sansheng Dachi. It is good. Luo Hao's eyes lit up. Compared with the lack of highlights, either playing Susan, or playing Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Obito of 10 Tails Kasusa, Kagayaji's performance is very bright. Susanoo Senju Buddha. Apart from him, only Kagayaji can make such a combination in the ninja world. Even Uchiha Madara and Senju Hashirama teamed up to make it. Don't say anything else. Uchiha Madara can't make the ultimate body Susanoo covering the Senju giant Buddha. Let the 3,000 arms of the Senju giant Buddha and the long chakra knife in each hand, Uchiha Madara can't do it. Not to mention reincarnation Madara, even Six Paths can't do it. As for Senju Buddha, Senju Hashirama can do it. But that is ordinary Senju Buddha. Kagayaji made this figure bigger than 10 tails. As soon as it appears, it will fill up the entire lava space, as if it will pierce the sky of the lava space. A Senju Buddha so big, let alone Senju Hashirama, even Ashura doesn't have this chakra. Only Kagayaji, the ancestor of chakra, can so easily fiddle with the two, and combine them together. Advertisement. Chapter 382 God Prestige True Several Thousand Hands. Advertisement. It is good. Mother really deserves to be the ancestor of chakra. Looking at my memory is equivalent to witnessing every battle I have seen in these years. Coupled with Tianren's oppression, her fighting quality is also improving rapidly. Seeing this Senju giant Buddha wearing the ultimate body armor, Black Zetsu is also unexpected. But after the shock, his heart was filled with ecstasy. Watching Kagayaji go from being ignorant to now even displaying the magic skills of the Senju giant Buddha and Susan, he was so excited and surprised that tears filled his eyes. It's really not easy. If my mother could use the pupil technique and chakra in this way, she would not have been sealed by the Six Paths brothers in 020. He didn't have to walk on eggshells all these years, for fear that any big moves would attract the attention of Sage of Six Paths. Seeing that Kagayaji is growing up now, it makes him feel like he has come to the end of all hardships, exhaling and raising his eyebrows. As long as Kagayaji continues to grow, looking at the ninja world, who can do nothing to get the goddess of Uno? Not even the Sage of Six Paths brothers can do it. Except, Black Zetsu quietly glanced at Luo Hao in the distance. Except Tianren. This one ate the chakra fruit like the mother, and the reincarnation Sharingan has one more tenon than the mother to threaten the mother. Humph. With my mother's current fighting quality, even if she can't beat her, she can still run away. I don't believe that if Mother Ishin escapes, Tenon can still kill Mother. Black Zetsu, who knows the horror of Tenon, has recorded many plans in his small notebook. In addition to the battle plan against Luo Hao, there is also a plan on how to save my life from Tien Ren. But for now, Kagaya is still growing. And Luo Hao also thinks that he wants Kagaya to become stronger, so he doesn't need to think about running away for the time being. Advertisement. I don't believe it. Everyone eats the fruit of the sacred tree, but I am not as good as you. Kagaya glared at Luo Hao with gritted teeth, and then brazenly controlled the Senju Giant Buddha to launch a fierce attack. God Prestige True several thousand hands. The Senju Giant Buddha she cast is indeed worthy of the name of a god. 3,000 arms clad in blood-red chakra armor and holding the blood-red chakra long knife swept the terrifying sword pressure that spread throughout the lava space with just one swing of the knife. 3,000 arms swung their knives at the same time, and Nuo Da's lava sea of fire was chopped into countless pieces in an instant. Facing such a terrifying chakra slash, even Luo Hao showed a little seriousness. However, there is more excitement. It's getting better. It seems that I don't have to restrain my hands and feet, worrying about accidentally hitting you too hard and killing you. Luo Hao smiled happily, afraid of accidentally hitting me with a heavy hand. Then you come and try. Kagaya-hime's eyes lit up with anger. She is the primordial chakra who is immortal. Now after gradually learning to master and use her own power, she began to float. Okay. Facing Kagaya-ji's invitation to fight, Luo Hao readily accepted. Instead of crushing Kagaya-ji with the power of Yuzhong, he used the taijutsu of 8 inner gates mode. I saw him leaping forward, the speed was so fast that the lava space was distorted. Be careful, mother, he's going to kick that kick. Seeing Luo Hao's movements, Black Zetsu's eyelids twitched violently. Advertisement. This is the foot. Just the aftermath almost killed him. Seeing Luo Hao's stance about to kick, he didn't dare to neglect it. Be the first to remind Kagaya-ji to be careful. Night guy. Almost at the same time as Black Zetsu's voice sounded, Luo Hao had already kicked in the air and stomped down on the sword cut by the giant Senju Buddha. Hold head high. There was a rumbling sound like the roar of a giant dragon, and the blood-red chakra covering Luo Hao's body immediately spread out, turning into a blood-red chakra dragon soaring into the sky, and then he rushed forward, crushing the oncoming sword pressure, and tightly then charged towards Kagaya-ji with the power of distorted space. 0. This time, I won't be like before. Kagaya snarled and manipulated the giant Senju Buddha to swing 3,000 arms and raise the knife to face the blood dragon. Every knife falls. The lava space vibrates once. Every knife falls. The sea of lava below split into a crack tens of thousands of meters long. When the 3,000 knives fell one after another, the entire lava space was immediately turned upside down. The phenomenon of spatial distortion like a vortex spreads all over every corner. This terrifying space imagination seems to be telling Luo Hao that his lava space will not be able to withstand the attack of Kagaya-ji, and 2.6 will soon be beaten to pieces, or even disintegrated. Catch it. Mother's God, Weizhuang, true several thousand hands actually turned head on, and then Tenon is enough to kick a country to pieces, Yi Gai. Seeing the giant Senju Buddha wielding 3,000 chakra-long knives and forcibly holding up the bloody dragon rushing in, Black Zetsu was more excited than anyone else. This is Tenon's Night Guy. So far, the extremely powerful body art that has suppressed the entire ninja world trembling. But now Kagaya-ji is next. This also shows that Kagaya-ji will reverse the passive situation that has always existed from the beginning, and blow the horn of counterattack. Advertisement. Chapter 383. Evening Phenomena. Night guys are all peaceful. Advertisement. It seems that you are not as powerful as I thought before. At least, you are not absolutely invincible. From the beginning of the battle, it was the first time to receive Luo Hao's attack head-on, which not only shocked Black Zetsu, but also made Kagaya feel exasperated. Finally, I don't have to be beaten anymore. Yes. Luo Hao laughed instead of getting angry when he heard this. Why didn't he go all out to kill Kagaya in the first place? Isn't it just to make Kagaya-ji's performance less eye-catching? Like Kagaya-ji's unsightly fighting performance just now, he felt that Kagaya-ji had ruined the fruit of the sacred tree. Everyone is a person who ate the fruit of the sacred tree, and Kagaya-ji's performance is so eye-catching, which makes him feel a little ashamed. Although he is the one who beats Kagaya, is not it. Kagaya-ji retorted not to be outdone. Whether it is true or not, 30 will soon be a little bit close in your heart. By the way, I forgot to tell you. Night Guy is the most powerful move under 8 inner gates formation. But for me who turned on the 8 inner gates mode, Shishong and Yi Gai are just ordinary flat A. If there is any difference between the two, it is that Shishong uses his fist to level A, while Yi Gai uses his feet to level A. Now, do you feel a little desperate? What Luo Hao said with a half-smile expression not only made Black Zetsu's expression change drastically, but even Kagaya-ji's face was full of horror. You don't have to bluff here. That will only show your weakness even more. Advertisement. Perhaps it was Yi Gai who had just carried Luo Hao, giving Kagaya-ji unprecedented confidence. Even though Luo Hao's words filled her with fear, she was not frightened. These words. No, this pretense is really a bit familiar. When Luo Hao heard the words, he thought about it seriously first. From the corner of his eyes, he noticed Aizen Sosuke who was watching the live broadcast and chatting with Billion in Kunchao from the corner of his eyes, and suddenly realized. Luo Hao. Aizen, are you surprised? Are you surprised? Aizen Sosuke. Zhang Chulin. Captain Aizen, what do you think? Aizen Sosuke. It's too much. Master Hokage is fine, why is the ancestor of chakra like this? Whitebeard. Big news. Not just Rob, but even his opponent Kagaya put his hand into Aizen's lines. Aizen Sosuke. Shu Lan, are you sure that the ancestor of chakra is not a time traveler like Master Hokage? Aizen Sosuke. I remember you mentioned that time travelers have a method of time travel called seizing the house. The ancestor of chakra couldn't be the time traveler seizing the house, right? Zhang Chulin. Although there is this method of time travel, I think Kagaya-ji is not a time traveler. Acetus. Why did you say that? Zhang Chulin. Have you ever seen a time traveler who has been pressed and rubbed on the ground? Cheomeng. That's true. You see, Master Hokage traveled to the world of Hokage, and there is no six paths blood that is so impressive. If Kagaya-ji is also a time traveler, how could he be punished by his two sons? Aizen Sosuke. If she is not a time traveler, why is she acting like Master Hokage, forcing me to pretend? I can't stand Aizen Sosuke thinking otherwise. In the skirt chat, only Luo Hao, a time traveler, has almost emptied out all his pretend lines. If he hadn't struggled so hard and won back a lot of pretend scenes, he wouldn't even be able to keep the title of Shinigami King in minutes. Just look at Uchiha Madara. Kneel down. I couldn't even pretend to be my own P***Psi a few times, so I went to see first Hokage. Advertisement. Even if one day Uchiha Madara is destined to enter the skirt chat, he will lose his title of Dancing King. Luo Hao, a time traveler, almost lost his reputation as the king of Shinigami. Now there is another goddess of Mao, Kagaya-ji. No wonder Aizen Sosuke is so concerned. How has it been said? So stop talking. Kagaya-ji saw that Luo Hao had been silent since she had just pretended to be a coward, and she didn't seem to be attacking at all. While feeling suspicious in her heart, 463 was also vigilant whether Luo Hao was planning some conspiracy. After all, when the Six Paths brothers dealt with her back then, they also used the insidious method of sealing her. She really couldn't help but be careless. Nothing. It's just that you let me watch a wonderful but full of surprise scene. Luo Hao chuckled and shook his head. Let alone Aizen Sosuke himself. Just now when Kagaya Haim pretended to be Aizen Sosuke majestically, he also had the idea that Kagaya Haim is also a time traveler. What with what? Hearing this, Kagaya became more suspicious. You don't need to think so much. Just one thing to remember, and one thing to do. Keep dancing hard. If you can't continue to satisfy me, I'll kill you. There was a slight smile on the corner of Luo Hao's mouth, but the murderous intent in his voice was that the extremely hot lava space was instantly shrouded in ice coldness. Advertisement. Chapter 384 Black Zetsu. This is the worst ninja class 1 have ever brought. Advertisement. Try. Hearing this, Kagaya-ji's pretty face instantly turned cold. Although she didn't know what was going on with Luo Hao just now, she couldn't hold back because she was thinking about Luo Hao's chakra fruit in her heart, and made the first move. After holding Luo Hao's Yigai just now, she was not willing to be beaten again, and played the role of being pressed to the ground and rubbed. Call out. Boom. With a change in mentality, she became stronger. Driven by her pupil power and will, the Senju giant Buddha made a move. 3,000 arms and 3,000 chakra swords slashed at Luo Hao at the same time. Compared to before, Kagaya Haim's attack is stronger this time. Where the 3,000 chakra long knives passed, they not only cut the lava sea into 3,000 pieces, at the same time, they also created 1,000 space rifts extending to every corner of the lava space. These cracks in the space directly made the lava space full of holes, pushing it to the point of being on the verge of collapse. Fighting with others has never evaded, and Luo Hao, who has always adhered to the principle of, you are just, I am more just, does not retreat but advances. Try it and try it. Luo Hao's eyes turned cold. The blood-red chakra that was originally draped on his body seemed to be blackened by ink, and changed from blood-red chakra to black chakra. At the same time, the bloody steam covering his body also turned into black steam. As the black chakra and steam soared into the sky, a looming, huge figure similar to Susanoo gradually emerged. Immediately afterwards, he stepped out, and the lava space that was already on the verge of collapse continued to vibrate, increasing the speed of the collapse. Advertisement. In the final analysis, the lava space is one of the small spaces controlled by Luo Hao's imperial palace after all. Although any space is wider than Uchiha Obito's Kamui space, it is not as strong and durable as Ninja World. Luo Hao and Kagaya-ji, two powerhouses who ate the chakra fruit, are fighting here, and they are still fighting at full speed. It is normal for the lava space to be unable to bear it and collapse. After all, Kagaya Haim can use her big move by herself, and use the inflated truth-seeking ball, which can also swallow a space. Now that the two of them are fighting against each other, it is no problem to destroy a lava space. What kind of technique is this? Kagaya-ji, who was originally full of confidence, was already sinking like water. Even if Luo Hao hadn't made a move yet, the momentum that overwhelmed Yi Gai was terrifying enough. I haven't seen either, but the power must be far above Yi Gai. It's a pity, mother, you don't know magic tricks. Otherwise, with your pupil technique, chakra combined with immortal technique, even Tianan may not be incapable of fighting. Black Zetsu shook his head hard. Although he has been trying his best to collect all the information about Luo Hao these years, but the ninjas in the ninja world are very disappointing. Whether it is the shadow of the 5 ninja villages or the descendants of the Sage of 6 Paths, each generation is not as good as the next generation. Before the outbreak of the Fourth World War, in the ninja world where there was not even a Six Paths level powerhouse, if someone could let Luo Hao use the exclusive big move in the 8 inner gates mode. Not to mention the big moves of the 8 inner gates mode, even Ping A Shi Shang with fists and Ping A Yi Gai with feet, after Luo Hao won the name of Tenon, no one can let him use them anymore. This year's ninjas are so disappointing, it can be said that he is the worst ninja brought by director Black Zetsu. How can he help director Black Zetsu collect the ultimate move under Luo Hao's 8 inner gates chakra mode? Sorcerer. Advertisement. Kagaya Ji chewed silently in her heart. At the beginning, Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura were able to seal themselves, although her combat quality was low, but it was not because she did not know fairy arts. On the contrary, Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura both mastered fairy arts. For other techniques derived from chakra, Kagaya Ji can learn to master them instantly just by reading them or knowing them. But only fairy art can't do it. This is a power that existed before chakra appeared in the ninja world. It can be said to be related to chakra, or it can be said to have nothing to do with chakra. After all, the toad on Mount Myoboku knew how to use natural energy before Kagaya Heim came to the ninja world with the sacred tree. This is also true, unlike Sage of Six Paths, Kagaya Ji, who has the great toad sage to lead into the gate of fairy art, no matter how greedy she is for sage mode, there is nothing she can do about it. Get rid of the gods. Under the fearful eyes of Kagaya Ji and Black Zetsu, Luo Hao moved. The moment he lifted his foot, the huge phantom shrouded in the black chakra behind him also moved. I saw the huge good king's phantom stomping its feet, and unexpectedly smashed all the chakra-long knives oncoming. This scene shocked Kagaya Ji so much that his eyes almost fell into the sea of lava. How is this possible? Kagaya Ji's pupils shrank. Before she could react, the black specter that covered the sky moved again. The first foot stomped Senju Buddha's 3,000 chakra-long swords until they were smashed, and the second foot also lifted up and kicked Senju Buddha wearing Susanoo armor. Click. Before this kick landed on Senju Buddha, the lava space was the first to be unable to bear it. With a howling sound of breaking, Nuo Da's lava space shattered. Advertisement. Chapter 385 The Man Who Destroyed the World. Advertisement. Zhang Chulin. Damn it. The space is blown up. Acedes. After all, it's just a small space, and it's not a complete world. Whitebeard. Look, this is the real man who destroys the world. Marine keeps saying that Laozi has the power to destroy the world, and this is simply wronging Laozi. Acedes. The man who destroyed the world is worthy of the name. Aizen Sosuke. This is just Hokage-sama in normal mode. Cheomung. Master Hokage is still waiting for the Six Paths family to appear neatly. It is estimated that when they appear, there will be a chance to see Master Hokage in serious mode again. For Luo Hao's serious mode, that is, the Sage Art 8 Inner Gates mode, whether it is Aizen Sosuke, Cheomung, or other members, they still remember it vividly. Take Bankai's Yamamoto Genryu Sai to not with a snap of your fingers. At the same time, it was the same finger that gave Nuo Da's Soul Society a middle score. This kind of power can be described as earth-shattering. Especially when Luo Hao hadn't eaten the chakra fruit from the Shinigami tree. And the current Luo Hao K550 has eaten the fruit of the sacred tree, and he is obviously stronger than he was back then. It is exactly the same, everyone in the skirt chat is looking forward to it, waiting for Luo Hao to show his serious mode. Mother, the lava space is about to collapse. Naturally, Black Zetsu didn't know that the Luo Hao he and Kagaya Ji were facing hadn't shown their full strength yet. Even the powerful 8 Inner Gates mode is far from the limit of Luo Hao. Now he is already in jeopardy just facing Luo Hao's ultimate move in 8 Inner Gates mode. If he knows that there is a Sage Art 8 Inner Gates mode on top of the 8 Inner Gates mode, he will probably have the idea of collapse. Ocean Hirazaka. Kagaya Ji's face was serious. Advertisement. The lava space collapsed. Even if it was as powerful as her, she would not dare to stay here for a long time. If the space completely collapses and she continues to stay here, she will definitely be swallowed by the turbulent flow of nothingness. Whether she will die or not by then, she doesn't know. But once she is swallowed by the turbulence of space, she doesn't even know what time and space she will be exiled to. Once you are exiled, you will not know how many years it will take to return to the ninja world. Walk. Luo Hao saw that Kagaya Ji opened a black portal before the lava space was about to completely collapse, and a sneer flashed in his eyes. I saw him stepping forward with his right foot. The shocking giant feet of the black phantom behind it suddenly stepped on the Senju giant Buddha. 3,000 chakra swords. Scarlet as blood sequel armor. The gigantic Senju Buddha. All of these were crushed one after another after encountering the kick of the black phantom. This kick really has the power to kill gods and destroy Buddhas. Kagaya Ji's Senju giant Buddha couldn't bear it, and it turned into dust with one blow. And Kagaya Ji, who opened Wangquan Bilyongjaka and wanted to avoid the edge for a while, was even more shocked when she saw Senju Buddha being kicked by Luo Hao, and speeded up without thinking, wanting to rush into the black portal inside. So you want to go? Then I will help you and give you a ride. Luo Hao sneered and kicked out. The huge specter suspended DAFC on his body followed like a shadow, made the same movement as him, lifted the black foot shadow and kicked Kagaya Ji's body. Advertisement. What? Kagaya Ji cried out in pain. The immortal body became a lump of flesh on the spot. She was about to enter the black portal, but now she didn't have to try her best to run in. Luo Hao's kick not only smashed her body to pieces, but also blasted his remnant body into the Wangquan Bilyongban. Certainly. After sending Kagaya away, who didn't know whether he was alive or dead, Luo Hao glanced at the lava space that was about to be destroyed, and stared sharply with a pair of Samsara Sharingan. The vast and boundless pupil power exploded like a starry sky. With his body as the center, a huge black sphere suddenly appeared, and then expanded rapidly at an astonishing speed. Had Black Zetsu and Kagaya been here, they'd have recognized this inflated truth-seeking ball. Even Kagaya Ji, the ancestor of chakra, is not easy to use this move. It is estimated that only Kagaya who has recovered all chakra and returned to the peak state can easily cast it. But now, Luo Hao not only cast the inflated truth-seeking ball in an instant, but also expanded the inflated truth-seeking ball to cover the entire lava space within seconds before the lava space collapsed. Flowing, hot magma, cracks in the space stretching all over the place, storms raging around. All these scenes, like the Doomsday disaster, disappeared when touched by the inflated truth-seeking ball. When the expanded truth-seeking ball spread to occupy the entire lava space, the originally collapsed lava space stabilized instantly. With the expansion of the truth-seeking ball being taken back by Luo Hao, the lava space that was going to be destroyed was restored to its original state. There will be no more Doomsday-like scenes before. The crack that caused the space to collapse, the storm that ravaged the space, the thunder and lightning that roared around, everything dissipated. Only the initial sea of lava flowing through the entire space is left. Apparently, all of this is caused by Luo Hao's inflated truth-seeking ball. Advertisement. Chapter 386, the fourth paragraph of Flying Thunder God, Flying to the Imperial Palace. Advertisement. It can annihilate all nature and return the world to nothingness, and it is also the starting point of a new space. Although the expanded truth-seeking ball devoured everything in the lava space, it also repaired the lava space, and even recreated a new lava space. Such is the terrifying power of one who eats the whole chakra fruit. Royal Palace of Heaven. Natural integration. Wonquan Hirazaka. Inflate the truth-seeking ball. This move belongs to those who have eaten the fruit of chakra. It is definitely not an independent ability, which has nothing to do with oneself. On the contrary, these many abilities are closely related to each other. Once united, they can create or destroy the world. Not only can it be used simply for combat. Unfortunately, Kagaya is totally different. Not to mention the creation and destruction of the world, even using these blood successor snares in battle is useless. Ninja World. Country. Master Tsunade, Master White Fang, where did they go? Namikaze Minato said while entering Sage Mode. He uses the Eternal Mangekyo to cooperate with Sage Mode's perception, but he can't find the slightest trace of Luo Hao and Kagaya Ji at all. The Imperial Center of the Sky. While Hatake Sakuma was pondering, Tsunade had already said. The Imperial Center of Heaven. What is this? Ant Snake showed a hint of interest. Although he has the three-god Jade Rinnegan, he doesn't have enough pupil power and chakra to cast the Royal Servant of Heaven. Advertisement. After all, changing gender is not getting stronger. She is still not Kagaya Ji, let alone Luo Hao. Just relying on 3 Tomo Sharingan's pupil power and her chakra is not qualified to master the Heaven's Royal Center. To truly own and master the Royal Center of Heaven, you must at least eat a complete chakra fruit. Even many members of the Otsutsuki clan are not entitled to this kind of treatment. Those who chased Kagaya and came to the ninja world obviously didn't master the heavenly Ocha. Because, none of them have eaten the whole chakra fruit. Otherwise, instead of chasing Kagaya they would be hunted down by other Otsutsuki clan. One of the pupil techniques mastered by eating the chakra fruit. No, this has gone beyond the scope of the pupil technique. It is a kind of Shueiji snare. It just needs to be cast by the reincarnation Sharingan. Tsunade, who had entered Luo Hao's Imperial Palace of Heaven, was deeply touched by this. The Royal Palace of Heaven actually controls 6 huge and boundless spaces. And the caster has absolute control over these spaces. In these spaces, the caster is God and can manipulate everything in the 6 spaces as he pleases. Of course, a person who possesses the Imperial Palace of Heaven can also rely on the incomparably powerful pupil power to transfer himself and the surrounding things to different spaces in an instant. Just like just now, one of the ancestors of chakra, Luo Hao and Kagaya Ji, should have cast the Imperial Center of Heaven. So even Minato who mastered the Flying Thunder God technique couldn't find them at all. Because only relying on the Flying Thunder God technique, or Minato's Flying Thunder God technique, there is no way to reach the space in the Heavenly Palace. While Tsunade's words made everyone suddenly realize, it also made Namikaze Minato squat on the ground with a little inferiority complex and depression. My Flying Thunder God. Why refer to my Flying Thunder God alone? Second Hokage-sama and fourth Hokage-sama will also be Flying Thunder God. Namikaze Minato stretched out a finger and lightly drew circles on the ground. Advertisement. 0 for flowers 0. Because Luo Hao told me that he raised the Flying Thunder God many years ago to a level that even the space in the Emperor of Heaven can touch. And during the Third World War, Luo Hao once entered the space in the Royal Palace of Heaven. That's why when I said that the Flying Thunder God cannot touch the Heavenly Palace, it can only refer to your Flying Thunder God, not everyone's Flying Thunder God. Tsunade's words of course made Namikaze Minato cry even more. So there's such a big gap between me and Hokage-sama. So many years ago, the gap between me and him was so big. While Namikaze Minato was depressed, he also felt shocked. 0. When he lost to Luo Hao, he still thought that he was only slightly inferior to Luo Hao in Flying Thunder God. The relationship is indeed not as good as that of Luo Hao. That's right, it's not that it's not slightly worse, but it's a world of difference. Why do I feel that Master 4th Generation played Flying Thunder God better than my Kamui? It's not just Namikaze Minato who is depressed. As his student, Hokage Kakashi also has a weird face. His Kamui can touch the Imperial Palace, but only if he has seen those spaces, and with the huge chakra, he can barely open a passage. But as Tsunade said, like Luo Hao, who can easily enter the space in the Heavenly Palace just by using the Flying Thunder God technique, he really can't do it at all. Isn't that obvious? Luo Hao has already developed Flying Thunder God to the point of the 4th stage. The first paragraph, the second paragraph, your teacher will too. Flying Thunder God in these 2 paragraphs alone is not as good as Kamui. The third section freely shuttles within the perception range. In the 4th stage, you can leap to different time and space, even in the Imperial Palace of Heaven is no exception. This is not even comparable to Kamui. Tsunade nodded as a matter of course. Advertisement. Chapter 387 The ultimate move of Peace is just multiple names. Advertisement. Kamui is indeed an extremely powerful space-time pupil technique. Not even Namikaze Minato and Senju Tobarama's Flying Thunder God. But it's just that the Flying Thunder God of the 2 of them can't compare. There are fluctuations in space. Just when Hokage Kakashi was about to speak, Nara, Ant Snake, and Hokage Tsukumo looked aside while playing with their colored contact lenses. Their pupils are extremely powerful. Although there is no way to open a passage to the Imperial Palace for the time being, this is also because they haven't fully grasped the Blood Legion bestowed on them by Luo Hao, and chakra can't keep up. If you understand it thoroughly, although it is still impossible to grasp the Imperial Center of the 050 of the sky, it is not impossible to open a passage to the Imperial Center of the sky. After all, the eyes of the 3 of them are not ordinary eyes. Although it is still not possible to open the Imperial Center of the sky, it is still no problem to notice the changes in the space. Under the gaze of the 3 of them, they discovered that a black hole appeared in the distant sky in vain. Immediately afterwards, a mass of emerald green flesh with no human features visible flew out of the black hole, and then smashed hard on the ground. What is this? Hokage Kakashi's eyes widened. This lump of meat is such a powerful chakra. Wait, isn't this Kagayaji's chakra? Ant Snake looked at the lump of meat in amazement. It seems that the ancestor of chakra can't please our Lord 4th Generation. Hokage Tsukumo glanced at it and roughly figured out what was going on. After this Kagayaji went to the space of Yuzhong of Heaven, she was obviously dealt with severely. Not only was he beaten beyond recognition, but he was also beaten to pieces. It's really difficult for him to survive like this. Advertisement. With such an injury, instead of 10 tails Jinchuriki like Uchiha Madara and Uchiha Obito, they are already on the way to reincarnation, although there is no such thing as reincarnation in the ninja world. Only Kagaya, who is almost immortal, can survive. It looks like the winner has been announced. Tsunade rested his right hand on Zanpakuto's hilt. Apparently, she was considering whether or not to take the Kagayaji cooking item at this time. Although she doesn't have pupil skills, she can clearly perceive that although Kagayaji's injury is serious at this time, it is only serious. If you give Kagaya time, it will be back to normal in no time. This is where the pervert of the person who ate the whole chakra fruit is. This level of resilience and vitality is far from comparable to that of 10 tails Jinchuriki. Call out. Just when Tsunade was hesitating whether to make a move, a figure suddenly appeared beside Kagayaji. Everyone looked around and found that it was Luo Hao. Compare with Kagaya. Judgment is over. Kagayaji was beaten to pieces, her face turned into a mass of emerald green meat paste. As for Luo Hao, his whole body was unscathed, not even his clothes were damaged in the slightest, and even his hairstyle was not messed up in the slightest. Kagayaji, that hit just now was your limit. Although you still have the ability to continue dancing, you have lost the right to please me. Luo Hao said lightly. #X. Although it is the secret art in the 8 inner gates mode developed by him, it does not mean that he can only use it once. Advertisement. For him, although God's Extinguisher is a big move, the difference from Ping A is that it has an extra name, and the difference from Yigai and Shishong is that it has a different name. For him, the consumption and burden of Shenmi are no more than those ordinary A's like Yigai and Shishong. Based on the fact that he ate 2 chakra fruits, plus the accumulation in the past, he can completely use this God Extinguisher many times. But what about Kagaya? One hit God Extinguisher can't kill her. But 2 strikes, 3 strikes, 4 strikes. Not to mention, he also has the Sage Art 8 Inner Gates mode that overrides the 8 Inner Gates mode. If Kagayaji didn't have more powerful abilities, then he really couldn't think of the need to stay on the other side. You and I are the ones who ate the fruit of chakra. Even if I'm not your opponent, you can't kill me. In a blink of an eye, Kagayaji, who was completely unrecognizable just now, has recovered from her muddy state. 0. It's just that when she looked at Luo Hao, her eyes were full of fear, and the depths of that reincarnation Sharingan even showed a trace of fear. Your 2 sons cannot kill you. No one in the ninja world can kill you. These 2 points are right. But that doesn't include 1.1 me. Luo Hao opened his right hand, a fire emerged from the tip of his thumb, a hurricane appeared from the tip of his index finger, a waterspout appeared from the tip of his middle finger, a lightning bolt appeared from the tip of his ring finger, a rock appeared from the tip of his little finger, and a rock appeared from the top of his palm. In the center, 2 clusters of light emerged, one white and one black. Yin Yang and 5 elements. You want to kill me with yin-yang and 5 elements. Even the truth-seeking ball with yin-yang and 5 elements can't hurt me at all. You still want to use the power of yin-yang and 5 elements to kill me. Kagayaji, who was originally facing an enemy in her heart, saw the chakra of yin-yang and 5 elements emerging from Luo Hao's palm. Advertisement. Chapter 388 4th Generation Strongest Ability. Advertisement. Just now Kagayaji was really worried that Luo Hao, who can even get out of the sacred tree, is like the people of the Otsutsuki clan, who has the ability to kill people who eat the chakra fruit. From now on, it is obvious that she is overwhelmed. The man in front of him is indeed amazing. Unexpectedly, at such a young age, only one person managed to create the divine tree. But obviously the other party didn't have the means to kill the person who ate the fruit of the sacred tree. Do you really think so? Luo Hao looked at Kagayaji with a half smile. Do you really think yin-yang and 5 elements can kill me? Kagayaheim asked back. Although your son Black Zetsu has been tirelessly collecting information on me these years, do you think Black Zetsu really investigated me? Luo Hao suddenly changed the subject. What do you mean by that? Black Zetsu carefully poked his head out of Kagayaheim's cuff. Black Zetsu, you've been investigating me for so many years. I kind of want to know what kind of person I am in your eyes. Luo Hao looked at Black Zetsu with interest. Grandmaster all ninjutsu, illusion, physical fitness, swordsmanship. A flawless person. Everyone in the ninja world respects you as Tenin, which is not too much. Black Zetsu said without thinking. For Luo Hao, he really admires from the bottom of his heart. From the moment Kagaya was sealed away, he has survived till now. During these long years, he has seen countless talents. But in the end, they came to a conclusion that one generation is not as good as one generation. Advertisement. After 6 paths, the 2 sons with the most talents are nothing more than his 2 sons, but they are just inheriting the father's business and getting the power inherited from their father. This kind of person can't surpass his parents until his death. In addition, in these long years, all those who can leave a strong mark in the history of the ninja world and are seen by him Black Zetsu have inherited the blood from Kagayaji without exception. Those who have no connection with Kagayaji's blood, at best, will be a cage level peak for a lifetime. Like White Fang in the past, like Gold Glitter. There are basically none of the super cage level ones. Like Luo Hao, without the blood of Kagayaji and 6 paths, it is unique to set foot beyond 6 paths, even beyond the category of Kagayaji. Then in your opinion, which is ninjutsu, genjutsu, physical jutsu or swordsmanship that I am the most grandmaster? Or, which one is my strongest? Luo Hao asked with a smile. This. Black Zetsu froze. Although he has collected a lot of information about Luo Hao, he knows that Luo Hao is good at everything. Ninja, body, phantom, sword grandmaster. Every power has been cultivated to ultimate. But to say the most grandmaster, the most powerful one, he really doesn't know. Don't say it's him. Even Namikaze Minato, Hokage Sakumo and others in the distance looked at each other after hearing Luo Hao's words. Because they also found that they don't even know what Luo Hao's most powerful ability is. After thinking about it carefully, they found that Luo Hao is perfect in everything, and every ability is as strong as ultimate. It was also the case that they couldn't tell what Luo Hao's most powerful ability was. The 4th generation's strongest ability. Minato, you are the only one of us who has fought the 4th generation. Do you know? Advertisement. Hokage Sakumo looked at Namikaze Minato. Master White Fang, stop laughing at me. When I challenged Lord 4th generation back then, I simply didn't know what to do. Master Hokage said he was fighting me, but he was actually just teasing me. Namikaze Minato was a little ashamed. Once upon a time, he was proud to have challenged the 4th Hokage. But later, he knew that his so-called challenge was just a game in Luo Hao's eyes. If he hadn't worried about the friendship with the same village, he would have been killed with one move. After the Nine Tails Rebellion, when he visited Jiraiya in the hospital, he got a shocking secret from Jiraiya. In the 4th generation battle back then, he was not defeated immediately at the beginning. In fact, it was Ant Snake who was concerned about Jiraiya's face and quietly ran to talk to Luo Hao. Let him Namikaze Minato not lose so badly in the 4th generation battle, save him some face. The same is true for 573, in that battle, Luo Hao didn't use any spells, he just played Flying Thunder God with him. But even so, Luo Hao only used the 3rd verse of Flying Thunder God. As for the 4th paragraph, he only learned about it from Tsunade until today. But if you want me to say it, it should be time and space ninjutsu. After all, Master 4th generation has developed Flying Thunder God to the 4th stage, which is unprecedented and never seen since. Although this space-time ninjutsu was mastered by Master 2nd Hokage, it has flourished in the hands of Master 4th generation. Namikaze Minato thought about it, and said, in his opinion, although Luo Hao has cultivated every ability to an unfathomable level, the most powerful one should be time and space ninjutsu. The 3rd and 4th verses of Flying Thunder God alone are already amazing enough. It should be gymnastics. After all, his 8 inner gates mode is famous in the ninja world. It is also because of this technique that he was awarded the title of Tenin. Hokage Sakumo pondered for a moment, then spoke his mind. Advertisement. Chapter 389 Can something like swordsmanship kill people? Advertisement. Lu Ju, what do you think? Namikaze Minato looks at Nara Shikaku. It should be ninjutsu. After all, even space-time ninjutsu belongs to the category of ninjutsu. Nara Shirjo's tone is also a little uncertain. Although these years he has often helped Luo Hao wipe his A*, and he has often helped Luo Hao watch when he is racing everywhere. But he has never been clear about Luo Hao's strength. Only know one word. Strong. And it's unfathomably strong, unfathomable. Master Tsunade, you are the wife of Master 4th Generation. Do you know? Hitaki Kakashi looks at Tsunade. His words made everyone turn their attention to Tsunade in unison. Indeed, a secret involving Tenon. The person most likely to know should be Tien Ren's pillow. Snake. Aunt Snake, you are Tianren's first teacher. Besides Master Tsunade, you should be the one most likely to know the strongest ability of Master 4th Generation. Before Tsunade could speak, Uzumaki Kushina threw the question to Aunt Snake. All of a sudden, everyone's eyes were on Aunt Snake and Tsunade. One is Tenon's enlightenment teacher. When Tenon was still studying at the ninja school, he accepted it as his foundation. One is Tenon's pillow man. The person who established a sister-brother relationship with Tien Ren early on. To say who knows Luo Hao best, it must be between these two. Advertisement. Not to mention Black Zetsu, White Fang and others, even Aizen Sosuke and others who were watching the live broadcast were scrambling to discuss this matter. Because all of their skirt friends have known Luo Hao for so long, and now they realize that they don't know what Luo Hao's most grandmaster and strongest ability is. Seeds. It should be physical arts. Aizen Sosuke. Could it be an illusion? After all, he rarely uses illusions to fight. Whitebeard. That makes sense. Ninjas, tricks too. The less you use the ability, the more likely it is the bottom of the box stunt. Aizen Sosuke. Billion, what do you think? Cheomung. In the skirt chat, you are the most knowledgeable, and you are the one who knows the most about the time traveler. Zhang Chulin. Ahem, I think it should be swordsmanship. Everyone. Swordsmanship. Almost at the same time, all the skirt friends saw Tsunade and Aunt Snake look at each other in the live broadcast, and then uttered two words in unison. Fencing. The unanimous voice of Tsunade and Aunt Snake not only stunned Aizen Sosuke and other skirt friends, but also stunned Hitaki Sakumo, Keigayaji, Black Zetsu and others. Except for Zhang Chulin, no one really thought that Luo Hao is best at swordsmanship. After all, Luo Hao made his fortune in ninja world. This is a world of ninjutsu, illusion, and physical arts. Although there are also people who rely on swordsmanship to achieve amazing achievements, such as Muyi Baya. But such people are extremely rare after all, it can even be said to be unique. Moreover, if ninja has played swordsmanship to ultimate, it seems that it can only set foot on the peak of cage level. Relying on swordsmanship to set foot in Super Shadow, 6 Paths level has never been seen before. It is also true, even though everyone knows that Luo Hao is also the one who brought swordsmanship to Ninja World Ultimate, but except for Billion, Aunt Snake and Tsunade, no one ever thought that Luo Hao's strongest swordsmanship is. After all, the swordsmanship handed down from the ninja world, even in Ultimate, seems to be far inferior to Grand Line, and also inferior to Shinigami's swordsmanship. In this case, even the resourceful Shinigami King, Aizen Sosuke never thought that Luo Hao's strongest is swordsmanship. Fencing. Black Zetsu also heard what Aunt Snake and Tsunade said. But after he heard it, his eyes widened, and his face was full of disbelief. Advertisement. Your strongest is swordsmanship. Keigayaji also couldn't believe it. Swordsmanship can kill people. Or in a super cage level, 6 Paths battle, is swordsmanship useful? At most, it's just doing 1 or 2 in close combat. To decide the outcome, the key lies in tolerance, physical fitness, and magic. Tolerate. What? Do not believe, Luo Hao said with a smile. You're not going to kill me with swordsmanship, are you? Keigayaheim is a bit ironic. Before, she thought that Luo Hao was hiding some kind of terrifying ability. Unexpectedly, the so-called best and strongest ability is actually swordsmanship. Is there a problem? Luo Hao asked back. Then I really want to see how you can kill me with your best and strongest swordsmanship. Keigayaji said proudly with a high face Qian Zhao. If Luo Hao came up with any brand new ninja, body, phantom, or abilities outside of the chakra system, she would still be worried. But now, when she heard that Luo Hao was going to use swordsmanship, she really didn't have the slightest worry. Then you see clearly, Luo Hao naturally saw and heard Keigayaji's dismissive tone and eyes. It's not surprising that this Uno goddess would have such an idea. After all, compared to ninjutsu, body jutsu, and illusion, swordsmanship in the ninja world is really the same thing. The strongest and most widely spread is Konoha-style swordsmanship developed by Senju Tobarama, and Hitaki Sakumo's famous White Fang swordsmanship, which is Hitaki-style swordsmanship. Advertisement. Chapter 390 Master Hokage, do you need me to provide you with pretend props? Advertisement. But even the White Fang sword art and Konoha Ryu sword art pale in comparison to the colorful ninjutsu, weird and unpredictable illusion, and taijutsu that can kick out the Hokage finale. It is obviously impossible to threaten the existence of Keigayaji's level by relying on swordsmanship. Not only Keigayaji said that, even Namikaze Minato and the others were stunned when they heard Aunt Snake and Tsunade say that. Obviously, they all doubt whether swordsmanship can hurt Keigayaji, who has mastered the blood succession eliminated. But there is one exception. That's Black Zetsu. When he heard that Luo Hao's best and most powerful ability was swordsmanship, he was as shocked and unbelieving as Keigayaji at first, and felt ridiculous. But gradually, recalling Luo Hao's past, his expression became more and more serious. Mother, don't be careless. 330. Tien Ren said that his strongest swordsmanship is definitely not a joke. Before he was revered as Tenin, no one in the ninja world could imagine that the power of taijutsu could reach the level comparable to illusion or even ninjutsu. But since Tianren kicked that kick in the Land of Rain, and people in the ninja world saw the power of taijutsu, all ninja villages have listed taijutsu as a key training system. Taijutsu ninjas have also changed from their low status. Black Zetsu was afraid that Kagayaji would suffer a big loss if he was careless, so he quickly reminded. Really, although Black Zetsu said so confidently, Kagayaji is not convinced. After all, taijutsu is powerful. People in the past ninja world didn't know it, and didn't believe it, it's normal. But she believed it, because she herself has mastered the earth-shattering and world-shaking physique of the Yashigami Sky Strike. It can be said that it is the physical skill of the Shueiji snare level. But the sword skill. She really doesn't believe that she can threaten herself. At least, I have collected information about Tenin for so many years, but there is almost zero information about swordsmanship. The reason why I know that Tenin is also a grandmaster swordsmanship and is extremely powerful is because Hatake Sakuma once passed the White Fang swordsmanship to Tenin. Advertisement. But in fact, I don't know how strong Tenin's swordsmanship is. Black Zetsu said in a deep voice. Whether it is or not, you will know by looking at it. Although Kagayaji didn't believe it in her heart, but adhering to the principle of being careful and making no big mistakes, her three eyes were still fixed on Luo Hao. Once she sees that the situation is not right, she will immediately open Wonquan Bilyansaka and escape. That's right. Just run away. Regardless of whether Luo Hao's swordsmanship is 6 or not, the kick just now in the lava space has broken Kagayaji's courage. She almost lost the courage to confront Luo Hao. Master Hokage, do you need me to provide you with pretend props? Seeing that Luo Hao was really going to use swordsmanship, Hatake Sakuma immediately volunteered and ran over with the White Fang short sword. After all, looking at Luo Hao's bare-handed appearance, it is obvious that he does not have a knife with him. Since Luo Hao decided to use swordsmanship to pretend, he must provide his own Hokage with props to pretend. Quote ? Here is my sword. Luo Hao shook his head and declined Hatake Sakumo's kindness. Immediately afterwards, he snapped his spread fingers. Wind, fire, thunder, water, soil, yin and yang, among which the chakra of nature transformation converges instantly. But there was no truth-seeking ball that was as black as ink. There was also no six-paths Zen staff, and Uchiha Obito used the DNA long sword, Tianmao spear. This combination of yin and yang and 5 elements actually gave birth to products other than truth-seeking ball. Under the shocked eyes of Kagayaji, yin-yang and 5 elements merged into a long sword with a simple shape and shining bronze color. Advertisement. If they hadn't seen it with their own eyes, no one would believe that this long sword was a product of yin-yang and 5 elements, and would only regard it as an ordinary bronze long sword. Compared to ninja swords, this kind of sword makes me use it more smoothly. Luo Hao lightly waved the long sword in his hand, and felt that it was extremely smooth. For a long time, he has been able to use both knives and swords in the ninja world with ease. So neither carried a saber or saber. The only thing I carry is a bunch of blade of the thunder spirit, which is only used to cheat, to trade with my skirt friends. The sword he uses most easily is the Qinjian with a simple shape. The second is the Tang knife with a straight blade and no curvature. Are you ready? Luo Hao stared at Kagayaji indifferently. Although this sword is the product of the combination of yin and yang and 5 elements, it is nothing more than a force area similar to the truth-seeking ball. So what if we use yin-yang and 5 elements as weapons? I'm not afraid of such things at all. As Kagayaji said, she actually took the lead. Although she does not believe that Luo Hao's swordsmanship threatens her, she will not foolishly use her body to chop Luo Hao. Before Luo Hao could strike the sword, she had already struck Hada Shenkong first. Yin-yang and 5 elements make a sword, not for its power. It's just that the sword of this shape can't be found in the ninja world. I did this just for convenience. Luo Hao said while raising his sword and slashing. No earth-shattering slashes. There is no special effect that shakes the ninja world. Some are just the demeanor of a sword falling and being wiped out. Advertisement. Chapter 391. It's not because of swordsmanship, but because of ninjas in the ninja world. Advertisement. Mother. Black Zetsu looked up with difficulty. Suddenly, I was horrified to find that Luo Hao's fluttering sword not only wiped out Kagayaji's Yashashenkong strike. At the same time, half of Kagayaji's body was wiped out. Obviously it was just a sword in the air. Obviously not emitting any chakra fluctuations. Obviously there is no special effect at all. But Kagayaji, who was focused on Luo Hao, couldn't react at all. In a daze, he lost half of his body. Half head, half neck, half body, half arm, half foot. It flew away neatly. This scene fell in Black Zetsu's eyes, but he was shocked to the core. This kind of swordsmanship, let alone seeing him, has never even thought about it. Just like the kick that Luo Hao kicked to level A in the 8 Inner Gates mode in the Country of Rain that day, it refreshed everyone's cognition of taijutsu in the ninja world. Luo Hao's sword today also refreshed Black Zetsu's and Tsunade's knowledge of swordsmanship in the distance. In the Super Cage level, even in the Battle of 6 Paths level powerhouses, swordsmanship is also useful. It's just that people in the ninja world don't have the ability to play swordsmanship to this extent. Just like in the past, no one can play taijutsu to the point where Luo Hao splits a small country with one hit of Yi Gai. It's not that the ability of swordsmanship is not good. It's purely that all ninjas in the ninja world can't do it. What's wrong, Ju? As the person involved, Kagayaji, who had half of her body cut off, still looks dazed. Luo Hao's sword is too ethereal and unpredictable. Even though half of her body was cut off, she seemed to feel no pain. Advertisement. She even gave a puzzled look when she saw Black Zetsu's frightened face. You, mother, look at your body. Seeing that Kagayaji hadn't realized what was wrong with him until now, Black Zetsu's eyes became more terrified. What kind of frightening swordsmanship is this that can make a strong man like Kagayaji cut off with a sword, and still half of his body is cut off without knowing it? My body. Why is my body gone? Kagayaji rolled her eyes slightly, and her fat face was horrified to find that half of her body was gone. This scene, while making her dull, also made half of her heart go cold. With one blow of the sword, half of her body was wiped out. If there is another sword strike, will the remaining half of her body disappear? Both sides of the body disappeared at the same time, can she still survive? About this, Kagaya doesn't know. At the same time, she didn't want to know either. Because from the past to the present, she has never tried to have her entire body destroyed in one or two rare battles. After witnessing Luo Hao's unpredictable sword, she has doubts about her immortality. If the two swords fell, would she still be alive? Goddess of Mao, can my swordsmanship catch your eye? Luo Hao admired Kagayaji's unpredictable eyes and expressions, and asked with a half smile. Although Kagayaji regained the dissipated half of her body in a blink of an eye, the way she looked at Luo Hao changed. No more disdain like before. On the contrary, when she glanced at the simple long sword in Luo Hao's hand, she had a fearful expression on her face like a snake. What kind of sword technique is this? Kagaya was alert with a pale face. She was afraid that Luo Hao would swing that sword again. Advertisement. 0 for flowers. Dust escape, be dumb. Luo Hao smiled lightly. It's just a mere elimination of blood successors. What does this have to do with your sword skills? Kagayaji couldn't confuse the mediocre blood successor knockout dust done with Luo Hao's nightmarish swordsmanship. In her opinion, the sword skills of Kong Dun and Luo Ku are the products of two categories. At least Chen Dun can't hurt her at all, because her body is more domineering than that of Ten Tails Jinchuriki. Even Shui Ji's snare can't shake her. Of course it doesn't matter. 0. But I appreciate the principle of dust escape. Break everything down to atomic size. So I borrowed this principle and developed a sword technique. With one blow of the sword, everything in the world is shattered down to the size of molecules. Not even the body of the Ten Tails Jinchuriki, not even you, the ancestor of the chakra, can resist. Because this is not Shuiji's snare, not illusion, not ninjutsu, not body art, but pure swordsmanship. Luo Hao said while raising the long sword in his hand. Don't come here. When Kagayaji saw Luo Hao's action, her pretty face turned pale with fright. How could she, who had been secretly guarding against Luo Hao for a long time, give Luo Hao the chance to strike the sword again? In the dark, the gods descended from the tree world, and she drew a large number of chakra from countless people with infinite Tsukuyomi in her body. She brazenly turned into a tail beast. First, it transformed into a huge rabbit-tailed beast in an instant, and then released a series of chakra arms to grab Luo Hao. At the same time, a black as ink stretched out from behind her, truth-seeking ball. In just a few moments, her truth-seeking ball has swelled to a size bigger than Ninja Moon. Advertisement. Chapter 392 Inflated Truth-Seeking Ball. Gone. Advertisement. Tail Beast. Seeing Kagayaji transformed into a rabbit-shaped tail beast, Luo Hao was not surprised at all. Just as he can turn you into a 5-clawed dragon with a tailed beast, Kagaya who also ate the chakra fruit also has his own exclusive tailed beast form. Compared with the 9-tailed beasts, compared with 10 tails, the tailed beast mastered by Kagayaji, who eats the fruit of the god tree, is very terrifying. Once touched by it, all chakra is instantly absorbed. Even 6 paths level powerhouses are no exception. But these abilities are not threatening to him. Facing the sweeping chakra arms, Luo Hao didn't even bat an eyelid, didn't even take a second look. The right hand holding the long sword is just a random pick. All chakra arms that came oncoming just shattered out of thin air. If it is said that he can blow up the space when he uses physical skills with his hands and feet, then his swordsmanship is 30 and can smash all matter, even the space is no exception. At least, the space in the ninja world can't bear his sword. Time is too short and the inflated truth-seeking ball hasn't reached ultimate yet. But it should be able to deal with him. Seeing that her attack had no effect, Kagaya sighed secretly. But when she glanced at the inflated truth-seeking ball beside her, she felt a little bit down. Although the truth-seeking ball and the expanded truth-seeking ball are the same substance, there is no comparison in terms of volume, size, or power. How powerful is an inflated truth-seeking ball that is comparable to the size of the moon in the ninja world? Just look at Hitaki Tsukumo, you and others in the distance. A small truth-seeking ball can easily destroy a forest, and it is not simply destroyed, but the kind of destruction that swallows all the properties of yin-yang and 5 elements. Almost essentially erasing all traces of matter. The truth-seeking ball is so scary before it reaches the size of a palm. How powerful is an inflated truth-seeking ball that is comparable in size to the ninja moon? Once it erupts, how much damage it will bring to the ninja world? Hitaki Tsukumo and others feel their scalps go numb just thinking about it. Advertisement. Quick, Minato, let's join forces and transfer all Konoha shinobi back to Ninja Village. Hotake Tsukumo said to Namikaze Minato without thinking. Master White Fang, you think I am Master 4th generation. This is 10,000 Konoha Shinobi. How do I transfer? Namikaze Minato smiled wryly. He's playing Flying Thunder God, that's right. But he's playing the civilian version of Flying Thunder God. Only 1 paragraph, 2 paragraphs. Luo Hao's version of Flying Thunder God. He can't play 3 or 4 stages at all. It's okay, just let everyone's chakra connect with you. While talking, Hotake Tsukumo looked at Nine Tails by Luo Hao pretending to be more obedient than a baby, lying on his stomach quietly. Nine Tails, share your chakra with everyone. If it was before, if Hotake Tsukumo said so, the response must be a tailed beast bomb from Nine Tails. But now let's not say that Hotake Tsukumo has activated Tensegan, which can be settled easily, let's just say that he just quietly watched Luo Hao pretending to be so many times, and he has already found out how to be a good tailed beast. Okay. The arrogant Nine Tails decisively dispersed chakra. With the help of Hotake Tsukumo, all Konoha Shinobi fighters are dressed in Nine Tails chakra in the blink of an eye. Minato. Hotake Tsukumo looked at Namikaze Minato. Give it to me. Namikaze Minato reached out and held down Nine Tails, and by contacting Nine Tails, he caught the connection between Nine Tails chakra and transferred tens of thousands of Konoha Shinobi back to Konoha Shinobi village in the blink of an eye. It's too much. Advertisement. Regarding the actions of Hotake Tsukumo and Namikaze Minato, Ant Snake threw out such a sentence indifferently. This is not superfluous. If that kind of thing explodes once, the Saidongyong array can't stop it at all. Let alone ordinary ninjas, even we can't bear it. Hotake Tsukumo is adhering to the principle that there is no big mistake. Although Konohagakure can be called a big family after Luo Hao took over. But if tens of thousands of ninjas are lost at once, that would be enough to hurt Konoha. You also said you exploded with something. But the problem is that the expanded truth-seeking ball can explode. Is there a chance to explode? Ant Snake stretched out a finger with a blank face, pointing towards the back of Hotake Tsukumo and Namikaze Minato. Why is it missing? The truth-seeking ball is gone. When Namikaze Minato and Hotake Tsukumo turned around and looked in the direction Ant Snake was pointing at, they saw a stunned scene. The inflated truth-seeking ball that was still entrenched in the distance, almost covering the sky of the ninja world, has disappeared at some point. Cut to pieces by Luo Hao's sword. Tsunade said calmly. When did this happen? Why don't the two of us know? Hotake Tsukumo and Namikaze Minato look at each other. Just when you are busy moving forward and moving the Konoha Shinobi back to Ninja Village. Tsunade looked at the two with a strange face. It took us less than 3 seconds to transfer the ninja. Namikaze Minato is sluggish, so the inflated truth-seeking ball was beheaded by Luo Hao in less than 3 seconds. Ant Snake said naturally. Advertisement. Chapter 393 The Goddess of Mao. That's it. That's it. Advertisement. Solved it in 3 seconds. Namikaze Minato was not the only one who was dumbfounded, Hotake Tsukumo was also dazed. Luo Hao can solve the swelling truth-seeking ball, he has no doubts at all. But it was solved within 3 seconds, and silently solved an inflated truth-seeking ball that was comparable in size to the moon. This really caught him by surprise. Good. Ant Snake, Tsunade and Hotake Kakashi all nodded in unison. At the same time, each of them looked at Hotake Tsukumo and Namikaze Minato who had been busy in the past 3 seconds with idiot eyes. Then what are we both doing? Out of the corner of Namikaze Minato's eyes, he noticed that there was a vague smile on the corner of Nine Tails' mouth, and he couldn't help asking. Nine Tails, did you see it just now? As he spoke, he stared at Nine Tails. Yup, see clearly. Shall I explain to you how 4th Hokage slashes and inflates the truth-seeking ball? A playful flash of Nine Tails' eyes. Just now he witnessed Luo Hao performing the feat of slashing tailed beast bomb with his sword. In fact, he could have stopped Namikaze Minato and Hotake Tsukumo, but he didn't. Apparently, he just wants to see Namikaze Minato make a fool of himself. Namikaze Minato just wanted to tell Nine Tails why he didn't remind himself, but when he saw Nine Tails' playful expression, he didn't know that the other party wanted to see his jokes. This made him swallow the words that came to his mouth with a depressed face. Advertisement. What a horror. The inflated truth-seeking ball can be chopped with a single sword. Seeing Namikaze Minato's aggrieved face, Nine Tails felt a sense of relief in his heart, and at the same time, the scene that took less than 3 seconds just now appeared in his mind. Inflate the truth-seeking ball. Facing the moon-like truth-seeking ball suspended in front of Kagayaji, Luo Hao's eyes didn't fluctuate at all. As if this is not a truth-seeking ball enough to bury a space, but just an ordinary hot air balloon. I can't believe, not even the inflated truth-seeking ball can handle you. Seeing Luo Hao's calm expression, Kagayaji gritted her teeth and pushed the inflated truth-seeking ball towards him. As the progenitor of chakra, the most powerful of her abilities is the inflated truth-seeking ball. If even this trick can't help Luo Hao, there is really no other way. That's not what an inflated truth-seeking ball is for. As soon as Luo Hao finished speaking, he raised the sword in his right hand and slashed. This time it is no longer invisible, without any special effects. After the sword was cut out, a faint black line appeared in the void. This black line puts the trace of Buddha's sky, and also puts the crack of Buddha's space. As this black line touches the expanding truth-seeking ball, this terrifying chakra energy body comparable to the moon is like ice and snow meeting a raging fire. In an instant, it collapsed and dissipated to the point of being invisible. It's a headache. It seems that not only the ancestor of chakra is his target, even the Six Paths family is targeted by him. What do I do? Help Six Paths, or act like nothing happened? Advertisement. Thinking of helping Sage of Six Paths, Nine Tails couldn't help trembling. Even the inflated truth-seeking ball was chopped to pieces by Luo Hao. If I help Six Paths, it is estimated that there will be no Nine Tails in the ninja world with one sword strike. For ordinary ninjas, although tailed beasts are equal to immortality, they don't think that the law of tailed beasts' immortality applies to my Hao. Can you still dance? After cutting the tailed beast bomb with the sword, Luo Hao raised the long sword in his hand and pointed at Kagayaji, who had a dull expression and 3 eyes full of horror. Mother, why don't we? Black Zetsu swallowed hard, and when he was about to suggest that Kagayaheim should withdraw first, unexpectedly, Kagayaheim, who has always been aloof, opened Wanquan Hirazaka without a word, and plunged into it. Mother, escaped. Seeing this scene, Black Zetsu was dumbfounded on the spot. Although he just wanted to suggest that Kagayaji should withdraw first, but he did not expect Kagayaji to be so straightforward and decisive. She didn't feel any entanglement because of running away at all, and she didn't feel ashamed at all. This decisiveness caught him by surprise. After all, this is the goddess of Mao. Even facing the Sage of Six Paths brothers, facing the Otsutsuki clan, Kagayaji has not escaped. No matter what he thinks in his heart, Kagayaji is on the surface looking down on life and death, and does not accept Nonuo's attitude. It was the first time in Black Zetsu's memory that this kind of performance of fleeing in battle appeared. Goddess of Mao. That's it. That's it. Seeing that the incomparably powerful goddess of Mao had escaped, Luo Hao couldn't help shaking his head and laughing. He was not surprised by Kagayaji's escape, nor did he feel any shame or embarrassment. After all, ninjas in this world are unscrupulous when fighting, and they will do everything they can. Don't talk about running away. As long as you can survive, you can win, and you can use any means to get offline. It's just that this kind of thing happened to Kagayaji, the high-ranking goddess of Mao, but it was directly broken. Advertisement. Chapter 394. A family must be neat and tidy. Advertisement. Hateful. If it wasn't for the severe lack of chakra, I wouldn't be afraid of you. Hearing the teasing sound in his ear, Kagayaji gritted her teeth in her heart. At this time, she is no longer in her prime after all. Not to mention 10 tails is missing 3 tail beasts. 2 tails, 8 tails, and 9 tails. Just the fact that she made Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura that year alone gave them a lot of chakra. The current Kagayaji, after all, is much worse than the goddess of Uno in the peak period. That's why she has the idea that she can't beat Luo Hao, and she just distracted chakra. But although I am unwilling in my heart, Kagayaji's body is still very honest. Although Luo Hao's ridicule made her very angry, she still walked towards Wanquan Bilyong City without buying it. You can't go. Luo Hao saw Kagaya 887G running away without looking back, and immediately swung the long sword in his right hand. A black line resembling a trace of the Buddha's sky reappeared, and then sank into Kagayaji's body like lightning. This sword first shattered half of Kagayaheim's body, and then shattered the portal that Kagayaheim opened with Koizumi Hirasaka. Even space can be chopped. Seeing this scene, 9 tails, 8 tails, 2 tails and 3 tails in the distance felt their scalps go numb. At this moment, they couldn't help but pray secretly in their hearts. Six Paths, if you do die, please die completely. Don't do anything about resurrection from the dead. This day, you can't afford to provoke your mother, and you can't afford to be provoked either. Advertisement. Apparently, the 3-tailed beasts consider themselves to be affectionate beings. Six Paths created them, but also accompanied their childhood. If Six Paths could come back from the dead as Luo Hao thought, then it would be really hard for them not to refuse to help Sage of Six Paths. But thinking of Luo Hao's strength, and thinking of the fate of helping Six Paths, they were entangled in their hearts. If the price of helping Six Paths is to die once, their 3-tailed beasts are definitely obliged. But the problem is that fighting against Luo Hao is definitely not as simple as dying once. It's a death method that can never be reborn, and even the outsider Rinne Tensai technique may not be able to resurrect. Mother. Black Zetsu saw that Kagayaheim was cut into half of his body, and the passage of Wanquan Hirasaka was shattered. Just like a situation where there is no way to go to heaven and no way to go down to earth, his face is suddenly full of anxiety and despair. At this time, the great director Black Zetsu has nothing to do. Although he wrote down an extremely detailed plan against Luo Hao, he really didn't expect Luo Hao's sword skills to be so terrifying. It's just that Ping A, who doesn't even have a name, has the power to smash the ninja space. Even Kagayaji, who has an immortal body, can't stand it. In the face of such overwhelming power, his script is completely helpless. Am I really going to die here? Kagayaji, who had half of her body destroyed, was trying her best to recover, and at the same time wanted to open Wanquan Bilyongsaka again, saw Luo Hao raising his sword again, and the 3 eyes couldn't help showing a touch of despair. She didn't expect that the Otsutsuki clan couldn't kill her. Back then, the 2 traitors couldn't kill him. But in the end, he died at the hands of someone who had nothing to do with the Otsutsuki clan. Are you really not coming out? Advertisement. Or is your relationship with Kagayaheim already so bad? Can sit and watch her die. Luo Hao frowned slightly. This seems to be different from the story he expected. Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura didn't move at all. However, No matter what the two brothers think, whether they move or not, it does not affect him to swing the long sword in his right hand. It doesn't matter if the Six Paths brothers come to save Kagayaji or not. None of this made any difference to him. As his enemy, Kagayaji, if the Six Paths brothers come, they will send their mother and son to the underworld together. After all, the most important thing for a family is to be neat and tidy. Even if they leave, they must be in a certain place. But if brother Six Paths isn't coming, that's okay. Just send Kagayaheim to the world of the dead to meet the two brothers. My life is over. Kagayaji, who lost half of her body, saw Luo Hao swinging the second sword, and her mind went blank. Between life and death, the thinking in her brain seems to have come to a standstill. But although she didn't think about anything, pictures appeared out of thin air in front of her eyes. The Six Paths brothers were born, took care of them to grow up, had high hopes for them, hoped that they could help him, but in the end they turned against each other, and was sealed by the high hopes of his own mother. The memories of these scenes were recalled by her in an instant. Although, she didn't have any thoughts about dying and letting go of all grievances, but at this moment, she found that she still hadn't let go of these two traitors. To the Six Paths brothers, she certainly hates and is angry, but she is more angry than fighting, hating them for not standing on her side, hating them for not being considerate of her. Hamura, Yuya, if you two hadn't betrayed me back then, maybe everything would have been different. Kagayaji just had such a thought in her heart, a crack in the sky that appeared when Fang Buddha was chopped into pieces by Luo Hao swept towards her. Advertisement. Chapter 395 Brother Six Paths. Keep people under the sword, don't hurt my mother. Advertisement. It's really amazing. But it's also normal. Not to mention the turning against each other back then, just the years that spanned over 1,000 years. What kind of mother-child relationship has been exhausted? Luo Hao saw that he had slashed the second sword, and the Sage of Six Paths did not come, so he gave up the idea of sending Kagayaji's family away in one go. Now that Brother Six Paths doesn't show up, it's not his enemy anymore. It's not his enemy. Seeing that the two brothers have protected the ninja world, he can't make trouble for each other deliberately. Although it is said that the continuous wars in the ninja world these years are caused by the internal control of the Sage of Six Paths family, it is also caused by him choosing to wait and see instead of coming out to create. But it is undeniable that Sage of Six Paths has made great contributions to this ninja world. If these two brothers don't jump out to hinder him, then he won't specifically try to get rid of them. Keep people under the sword. Don't hurt my old mother. However, just when Luo Hao gave up the idea of sending Kagayaji's family away with his own hands, two voices suddenly came from the void. With these two voices, Fang Buddha crossed the boundary between life and death, and passed directly from the world of the dead to the ninja world. Almost at the same time as the sound sounded, only half of her body was left, and she could only watch helplessly as Kagayaji, who was swallowed by a black line like a trace of the sky cut out by Luo Hao's sword, suddenly disappeared in place. This voice is. Erwei raised his head and looked at the sky. It's finally here. Eight Tails let out a deep sigh. You two still can't let her go after all. Old man Six Paths. Nine Tails shook her head. Advertisement. He knows that Brother Six Paths has made a choice. Now it's time for him to make a decision with Erwei and Eight Tails. Yuya, Hamura, Kagayaji, who originally thought she was going to die for sure, just closed her eyes and waited for death, was stunned when she found herself suddenly transferred to the ground 1 kilometer away. Even Nine Tails, Eight Tails, and Two Tails can recognize the voices of the Six Paths brothers. As the mother of the two, how could she not recognize her son's voice? She didn't expect that the two sons who turned against each other and even caused a world war would come to save her. You are still here. The corner of Luo Hao's mouth raised, and he looked behind Kagayaji. Not only that, the three-tailed beasts, as well as Tsunade, Hatake Sakumo and others all turned their attention to Kagayaheim. Under the gaze of many eyes, two blue chakras slowly appeared behind Kagayaji. Immediately afterwards, there were two horns on the two heads, and they were wearing white gowns. There were 6 black jade-like patterns on the chest, a red swirl-shaped logo on the back, and 3 rows of jade figures below the blue chakra step by step. Walk out. Such a distinctive feature. Looking at the history of the ninja world, there are only 2 of them. Otsutsuki Yuya aka Sage of Six Paths. Otsutsuki Hamura, the ancestor of the Hyuga clan. Are they the fabled Six Paths brothers? Aunt Snake's eyes were full of heat. If you don't know her well, you might think that she fell in love with the Six Paths brothers after transgender. But those who are familiar with her know that this kind of look in her eyes seems to appear when she sees very perfect experimental materials. Obviously, from the moment the Six Paths brothers appeared on stage, Aunt Snake, the chief scientist of the ninja world, had the idea of carrying the 2 brothers to the operating table for a good dissection. Advertisement. 0 for flowers. I've been dead for so many years, yet I can still cross the boundary between life and death as I wish, and come to the ninja world. Hatake Sakumo's face was full of surprise. The first to have a Rinnegan. Nara stared at the Sage of Six Paths for a long time. He can feel that his pupil power may not be inferior to Rinnegan of Sage of Six Paths. But the strength of the two is very different. At least, he has been dead for so many years, and he definitely can't cross the boundary between life and death at will like Sage of Six Paths. 0. From the era of Sage of Six Paths to the present era of ninjas, at least 1,000 years have passed. Such a long time can actually ignore life and death. What a frightening strength this is. Maybe the Six Paths brothers are not as powerful as Kage now, and even less so than Kage in his heyday. However, the understanding, mastery, and use of chakra definitely surpass Kage, the ancestor of chakra. This also led to the combat power that the two brothers can display in the battle is even more powerful than Kage. After all, during the millennium when Kage was sealed, they researched chakra to ultimate. In comparison, Kage was simply sealed, and the long years have not improved at all. I didn't expect that one day we would actually face the legend. No, it's the existence in the myth. Namikaze Minato's expression is a bit complicated. He found that since Luo Hao became the fourth Hokage, the experience of Konoha shinobi has become more and more mysterious. The background of the opponent is more exaggerated than the last, and the wars experienced are more terrifying than the last. Now even the chakra ancestors, even the sage of Six Paths brothers have come out with knives. Advertisement. Chapter 396 Nine Tails. Let's kill Old Man Six Paths together. Advertisement. What should we do? Shall we kill Old Man Six Paths together, or help Old Man Six Paths? 9 tails, 8 tails, 2 tails and the 3-tailed beasts looked at each other, and they all saw the entanglement in each other's eyes. Brother Six Paths is out. 9 times out of 10, he wants to fight Tianren. How will they choose then? Should I go all the way to the dark with Tianren, kill the Six Paths brothers, and then eat and drink spicy? Or follow the Six Paths brothers and their family to leave the ninja world neatly? That's right. After seeing Tenen's strength, whether it's 9 tails, 8 tails, or Erwei, they all have the same idea. Even if the sage of Six Paths brothers revived, 320, and joined Kage, mother and son to stand side by side, there would be only 3 more corpses. Unless Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura have grown in strength over the 1,000 years of their death, and have grown to the point where Kage surpassed the peak period. But is it possible? It is almost impossible for a person who has not eaten the chakra fruit to surpass a person who has eaten the whole chakra fruit. At least this kind of thing is impossible in the ninja world. Yuya, Hamura, do you still know how to come out? I thought you didn't see me as a mother for a long time. Seeing the Six Paths brothers cross the boundary between life and death to save themselves, Kage's heart is very complicated. At first, she was a little stunned, then she was secretly happy, and then she was angry. No way. Goddesses are women too. Since she is a woman, her thoughts are naturally unpredictable. Mother, you gave birth to us. Over the years, we have never thought of denying you. Advertisement. Otsutsuki Hamura has a little twinkle in his eyes. Obviously, it is impossible to say that there is no guilt in sealing Kage back then. But helplessly, Janyeji's thoughts are too dangerous. Actually put the whole ninja world on the spot. All human beings are but seedlings of her harvesting chakra. This kind of thinking is unacceptable to the Six Paths brothers who were born and raised in the ninja world, and have bonded with this world and humans in the ninja world. Even if they later learned that Kage had her own reasons and ideas for doing this, they still couldn't accept Kage's approach. Mother, if you are willing to give up the dangerous attitude of the past, we are willing to always be by your side and atone for what we did to seal you back then. Sage of Six Paths said in a deep voice. So you still think I'm wrong? If I continue to insist on the behavior of the past, will you still choose to stand opposite me, and even seal me up? Hearing this, Kage slapped Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura twice in anger. These two brothers are also tough. I don't know if it's guilt or something else. Both of them stood in place and received Kage's slap with their faces without moving. However, Kage didn't know if it was because the two brothers came out and risked their lives to save each other just now. Although they slapped twice, they didn't raise their hands and it was Yashisakaki, but ordinary slaps. Although this ordinary slap swelled the faces of the two brothers with the body of Six Paths, but it can be seen that Kage still has a little bit of a hand just because of the swollen face. Yes, faced with Kage's slap, Sage of Six Paths took it hard without dodging, but this ninja way, this concept, this fetter is not giving up an inch. UB asterisk 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 D. Have you forgotten who gave you everything you have now? It's me. It is I who did not hesitate to split the fruit of the divine tree to make you two. 0. Advertisement. If I hadn't split the sacred tree, I wouldn't be so embarrassed by Tianren now. But what about you? Is this how you repay me as a mother? Since you all think I'm wrong and want to seal me, why didn't you just let the criminal cut me off with a sword? In this case, you can settle it once and for all, and you don't need to find someone to inherit your power to seal me after I am resurrected. In the future, you don't need to worry about me destroying your favorite ninja world. Knowing a son is like a mother. Although there is a generation gap between Kage and the Six Paths brothers, it is only a generation gap. She is very clear about the thoughts of these two sons. If there is no Luo Hao's appearance, if she is resurrected, it is estimated that what she is facing now is not Luo Hao, but the existence that has inherited the power of the Sage of Six Paths. The seal belongs to the seal. Death to death. It's two different things. We can accept mother, you are sealed because we are your sons. Even if the mother did something wrong, we must not have the idea of killing the 3.0 mother. So we can only choose to seal you. I hope you can give up this idea during the sealed years. Otsutsuki Hamura said hastily, just as Luo Hao guessed. Kage is immortal, so, they can accept that Kage is sealed. As long as Kage gives up the dangerous idea of attacking the ninja world, they will never confront Kage, let alone seal Kage again. If they really hated Kagayaji and wished that Kagayaji would die early and be reborn early, the moment when the director of Black Zetsu planned to save his mother, they can completely stop Black Zetsu. Advertisement. Chapter 397 Sage of Six Paths. Sell my face and spare my mother. Advertisement. Whether it's Otsutsuki Hamura or Sage of Six Paths, if they want to, they can instantly kill Black Zetsu without resurrecting the space. Where will I watch Black Zetsu ravage the ninja world, and finally release Kagayaji? In fact, the reason why the two brothers sit and watch all this happen is that apart from not wanting to interfere with the operation of the ninja world, the most important thing is that they really want to see whether Kagaya will change his mind after the 1,000 years have passed and Kagaya is freed from the seal. If it changes, that's easy. As long as the power of yin and yang is withdrawn, no one can seal Kagayaji. If there is no change, then let the inheritors use the power of yin and yang to seal Kagayaji. But all of this is based on the fact that Kagayaji is not harmed, but is sealed. And just now, Kagayaji was almost killed by Luo Hao. The two brothers can't think of killing their mother, let alone watch Kagayaji being killed. We seal you, not because we hate you, mother. 30. Not to mention the rebellious thoughts that make you die. We brothers do this, just hoping that the long years will make you, mother, give up your past thoughts. Quote. Sage of Six Paths followed suit. Sealing is indeed a kind of torment for ordinary people, a kind of torture. After all, for ordinary human beings, life is in a hurry, and there are not many winters and summers to pass. Not to mention it has been sealed for 1,000 years, even for 5 years, Tien Yen is desperate. But for tailed beasts, for existences like Kagayaji, thousands of years seem to be a long time, but they are immortal, and a long lifespan may be equivalent to the time for an ordinary person to take a nap. You guys are mad at me. After Kagayaji heard this, although her face was full of anger, her heart was a little complicated. Since the mother and son turned against each other, this is the first time for the three of them to be honest with each other and communicate with each other openly. Although she was very dissatisfied and angry that the Six Paths brothers still insisted on their own opinions, she was relieved that they risked their lives to save her when she was in danger. Advertisement. At least these two rebels haven't rebelled enough to want her dead. At least she still has her mother in her heart. I said, it's too boring for you mother and son to quarrel there, why don't you talk to me? Just when Kagayaji was about to say something, Luo Hao's voice came in vain. Tien Ren. His voice made Kagaya and Ji tremble in their hearts, and they looked at Luo Hao who was walking with a sword at the same time. Obviously, this so-called chat is not as simple as talking with your mouth. But with a sword. Although I noticed your existence early on, every time I see you, I still can't help being amazed. Sage of Six Paths stared at Luo Hao, a pair of Rinagons revealed an unconcealable shock. Amazing what? Facing the legendary Sage of Six Paths, Luo Hao didn't even wield his sword. Amazing. I really can't imagine that the ninja world can actually give birth to your existence. In my time, my mother said that Hamura and I were geniuses. But I know very well that the so-called geniuses like Hamura and I are just the strength inherited from our mother. In fact, without the blood and chakra given to us by our mother, Hamura and I are not much better than ordinary people. But you, before you came into contact with chakra, you were just a real ordinary person, without inheriting any special blood and talent from your parents. But your achievements have surpassed all the contemporaries, broken the shackles of the times and blood, and stood up to our brothers, even the mother can't reach the height of the car. Sage of Six Paths doesn't know if it's commercial bragging, or it's really lamenting Luo Hao's strength from the bottom of his heart. But even if it's a business bragging, he is very serious, a commercial bragging with emotions. You're not bad either. Advertisement. There has always been a tradition in the ninja world. -1 euros. But you and Hamura have broken this inheritance. Obviously all the power comes from Kagayaji, but she was sealed. Indeed. To be honest, I have been in love with you brothers for a long time. Now that 887 Sage of Six Paths is so sincerely sending out commercial bragging, then Luo Hao also gives the Six Paths brothers a little bit of face to brag about each other 10 times. We're no match for you. Otsutsuki Hamura shook his head. Honestly, he really doesn't think he can compare to Luo Hao. If he had to struggle like Luo Hao back then when he had nothing, it would be really hard for him to achieve what he is now. Tien Ren, we are all existences of the past era. The remnants of the era. Originally, we should not have appeared in your era. However, Kagaya Haim is our mother, so we have to come too. After Sage of Six Paths sighed, his eyes fixed. Your achievements are beyond our reach. The height you stand is far beyond the three of us, mother and child. This old man begs you to sell me a thin noodle and spare my mother. As long as you are willing to turn your sword into a jade silk, that old man is willing to pay any price. Sage of Six Paths is also a ruthless man. Advertisement. Chapter 398 Kagayaji, I disagree. Advertisement. Partner news. When sealing Kagayaji, Sage of Six Paths is ruthless enough. When saving Kagayaji, he was also ruthless. He knew that the words, Sage of Six Paths, alone were not enough to impress Luo Hao and make him let his mother go. After all, he really knows how attractive things like chakra fruit are. The conflict between the two parties has started. Luo Hao wants Kagayaji's chakra fruit, but his mother also wants Luo Hao's chakra fruit. Now that Kagayaji has lost in the battle, it is obviously impossible to let Luo Hao stop without leaving something behind. For this, Sage of Six Paths has been quite prepared. Yuya. Kagayaji looked at Otsutsuki Yuya in astonishment. Pay any price. How could she not understand this? In other words, as long as she is safe and sound, Otsutsuki Yuya will not hesitate to die. Mother, leave this to me. Otsutsuki Yuya stopped Kagaya from continuing. Tien Ren, what do you think of the old man's proposal? He looked at Luo Hao with burning eyes. Don't you think it's a pity to give up if you don't fight hard? Although your mother was defeated by me, after living for so many years, the two of you brothers should see that Kagayaji is not very good at fighting. But you have no such shortcomings. With the strength of the three of you, mother and son, you are not qualified to fight with me. Luo Hao was also a little surprised. Unexpectedly, Sage of Six Paths would make such a choice. As soon as you come up, you put on a posture that it's up to you to kill or cut. Although Hamura and I are better at fighting than mother, if we can, we don't want to fight with your excellency. Advertisement. Absurd sports moments. Europress. Win or lose, the ninja world cannot stand our battle. When I fought with my mother back then, the ninja world was riddled with holes, and Hamura and I already regretted it. I don't want to reproduce the past tragedy in the ninja world. Quote. Otsutsuki Yuya shook his head. If he had a choice, he would certainly not want to hand over the choice to others. But as a spectator, witnessing Luo Hao's existence all the way from scratch, he really knows how terrifying the Tianren in front of him is. That is an existence that is difficult to fight even if the mother and son join forces. If sacrificing him alone can quell the war in exchange for the safety of his mother, then he is not unacceptable. Anyway, he has been dead for so many years, and he is not close to dying completely. Take this as atonement for my unfilial behavior of sealing my mother back then. After all, it's good if you win, or it's good to tie. But once he loses, he will definitely not be the only one who will die, but the whole family will die neatly every minute. No, I don't agree. Before Luo Hao could speak, Kagayaji had already said in a deep voice with no doubt. Mother, Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura frowned slightly. Shut up, if you still recognize me as a mother. Although I don't want to lose the chakra fruit, let alone die, I'm not humble enough to sacrifice my son in exchange for my own safety. Otsutsuki Kagaya gave Brother Six Paths a cold look. But, Otsutsuki Hamura wanted to say something but was interrupted roughly by Kagaya. Remember why we turned against each other back then? Kagayaji paused word by word. Remember. Advertisement. Hearing Kagayaji mentioning this matter, Brother Six Paths' tone suddenly dropped a lot. It is not a glorious thing to turn against each other and seal the mother. If given a choice, they really wouldn't want to do it. I need the ninja world as a futon, I want to create an army of white Zetsu, I want to collect chakra, it's not for me, it's for us. You asked me why I did this in the first place. I think you should know by now, but I still want to say it myself. Because I ate the fruit of the sacred tree, the family will not let us go. So I have to gather more chakra and create an army to fight them. Kagayaji's words silenced the Six Paths brothers. They more or less guessed their mother's difficulties. It's just that at that time, both sides would be angry and angry. Coupled with the fact that there is a generation gap between the mother and son, it would be strange not to fight. It's been so many years now. Kagayaji has been sealed for so many years, and their brothers have been dead for so many years, so naturally they lost the anger they had back then. And all the human beings bonded with the Six Paths brothers, Nuo Zhao's, are dead. After so many years, the Six Paths brothers have even looked down on the survival of their own family descendants, and the only thing that can concern them is the life and death of the entire ninja world. I don't want to ask you if you have another chance to choose, which side will you stand on? Now I just want to say one thing. Facing the family, I chose to fight with you hand in hand. Today, facing him, I am the same. What about you? Thousands of years ago, he stood on the side of ninja world and human beings. Which side are you on now? Kagayaji stared at Brother Six Paths with a burning gaze. Luo Hao also didn't speak, but quietly waited for Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura to make a choice. Advertisement. Chapter 399 Good. The whole family is neat and tidy. I like. Advertisement. Frankly speaking, compared to how to deal with the innocent Sage of Six Paths, Luo Hao wants to fight with Kagayaji's family. After all, looking at the ninja world, no, it is many worlds. It is estimated that only the way Yorichi's family teamed up to give him the desire to fight. And only the whole family can dance to please him. As for Sage of Six Paths, it is natural that the whole body is the treasure. But for him, these treasures are not necessarily treasures. At least, he is more willing to fight with the Yorichi family with all their might. Since mother has this idea, then we should follow. Sage of Six Paths heard Kagaya, who has always been proud, confided his heart to himself. Even though he has lived for many years, he has already seen the vicissitudes of life, and smiled at the existence of the vicissitudes of the ninja world, but he still felt a strong touch in his heart. If the three of them, mother and son, could have opened their hearts and communicated so calmly, it is estimated that the 117 battle between mother and son that almost destroyed the ninja world would not have erupted. Anyway, both of us brothers have already died once. If you are not even afraid of mother, we will naturally not be afraid. We failed to stand up when you were afraid of the family, mother, so this time we will fight for you. Otsutsuki Hamura looked into Kagaya's eyes, and said word by word. Finally, I didn't give birth to you two unfilial sons in vain. Kagayaji's heart is also slightly touched. Back then she liked that her two sons were on her side, helping her against the Otsutsuki family. As a result, before the members of the Otsutsuki family arrived, the Six Paths brothers had already stood on the side of the ninja world and confronted her. It can be described as a trick of good fortune. But now, the mother and son don't say that they have settled their suspicions. Although Kagaya still has a cold face, she has also eliminated a lot of grievances. Slap. Okay. The whole family is neat and tidy. Doff, I like it. Advertisement. Just when the three of Kagaya and G felt something in their hearts and once again realized the love between mother and child after a long absence, Luo Hao's voice directly brought them back to the ruthless reality. It seems that the negotiation between us has been invalidated. Sage of Six Paths glanced at Luo Hao. Did you finally come to the opposite side of this man? Although the Luo Hao in front of him can only be regarded as his junior, but he dare not really treat Luo Hao as a junior. On the contrary, he attaches great importance to Luo Hao, and his attitude towards the next battle is even more than that of the battle with Kagaya back then. When the two of them lost back then, at most they were beaten by Kagaya, and if it was more serious, they would be taken back as chakra. But now facing Luo Hao's loss, he really complied with Tien Ren's words, and the mother and son died neatly. And it's kind of dead. Fine. Compared to disposing of you, I would rather see the three of you mother and son dancing in front of me. You may not believe it, after all you have a younger brother. But I don't even have a single person who can fight. Luo Hao smiled helplessly. Peak loneliness. Invincible loneliness. He can accept this, he can understand it. I don't think there's anything wrong with it, and I don't moan about it, or control my own strength to fight with others, not to mention creating someone stronger than myself to defeat or kill myself. In fact, his current state of mind is similar to that of Saitama the Great Demon King. Invincibility is inevitable, the pinnacle is absolute. He's not looking for someone who can beat him, because that's too difficult. After all, like Saitama, his strength is improving every moment. Advertisement. In fact, he just wants to know how strong he is, and he just hopes that he can fully release his power in the battle. Even if it's only temporary full power, not full power after becoming stronger. As long as you can release it once during the battle and see how strong you are, that's enough. Saitama wants to punch hard and fast in serious mode. Didn't Luo Hao want to release his power with all his might? It's a pity that this beautiful wish has never been fulfilled. Because they did not find an opponent, did not find an enemy who could carry their strength. If you release your full power against the air, then it's not impossible. Not to say that it is meaningless, but if you do this, the problem will be big. Saitama unleashes all his strength on the earth. If there is no opponent to carry it, the earth will explode on the spot in minutes. Similarly, if Luo Hao releases his power in the ninja world will also perish in minutes. This also caused both of them to feel extremely helpless. Is not it good? Not all ninjas hope to reach your current existence. Invincible, absolutely invincible. Otsutsuki Hamura felt a little touched in his heart, but because of the company of Sage of Six Paths and the fact that Kagaya was watching him on his head, he couldn't fully understand Luo Hao's kind of wanting to punch with all his strength but not being able to get it thought. As very good. I am not dissatisfied either. I just want to simply throw a punch, lift a foot, and strike a sword. But helplessly, I have exhausted all the methods I can use, but there is no way to satisfy my idea. Luo Hao shrugged. Ninja he can't find it. In skirt chat, he also couldn't find it. Advertisement. Chapter 400 Black Zetsu. My biggest sponsor is Tenon. Advertisement. Rejuvenate and learn Wood Styles Whitebeard. Aizen Sosuke who has learned many power systems. Mewtwo who has mastered Zanpakuto, the strongest ice type. The quality of these three skirt friends is the highest. It's a pity, even if they pack up and shoulder to shoulder, it's not enough for him to kill him with one finger. The previous Hogyoku Aizen Sosuke was killed several times in a row as the best example. Look around. Can't find anything. In the end, Luo Hao can only pin his hopes on Kagaya Jazi. Compared with Kagaya's chakra fruit, he doesn't care too much. If he really wants chakra fruit, he can grow it himself. Ninja world can plant, and he can run to plant in other worlds too. Worried about missing the chakra fruit if he wanted it. Compared with the chakra fruit on Kagaya, what he wants more is that Kagaya's family is shoulder to shoulder. He didn't ask Kagaya Haim and his family of 3 to fight him. It is enough for Kagaya mother and son to receive a punch from him. Even if it was just one punch, he would be satisfied. It is for this reason that you sit back and watch me revive my mother. At this moment, Black Zetsu poked his head out suddenly. He is not stupid. From the conversation between Luo Hao and Brother Six Paths just now, it can be roughly figured out that a series of actions that he thought he was cautious not being noticed by anyone over the years are actually being watched by various bigwigs. For millennia, the Sage of Six Paths brothers have been watching his every move. Thousands of years later, since the rise of Tianren and the Three Wars, what he has done has also been seen by the other party. Advertisement. But neither of them stopped themselves. It's not because of his skills, it's just that both parties don't mind Kagaya's resurrection. Although the Six Paths brothers sealed Kagaya, it doesn't mean they want to seal Kagaya forever. Since he, Black Zetsu, is working so hard to revive Kagaya, the Sage of Six Paths brothers naturally don't mind pushing the boat along the way and bringing Kagaya back to life. In this way, we can also see if Kagaya has let go of the past thoughts. If you let it go, Then Kagayaji, who has escaped from the seal, wants to dominate the ninja world or live in seclusion, they will not stop it. If you don't let it go, then it's okay, just find 2 successors to inherit the power and stand shoulder to shoulder. If it doesn't work out, that's okay. At the critical moment, their brothers will come out again. It is also true that the 6 Paths brothers will sit back and watch Kagayaji come back to life. And Luo Hao on the other side is even simpler. Not so much love and hate. It's purely because I searched through several worlds, and I couldn't find anyone who can take his punch, so I put my hopes on Kagayaji. No, it's Kagayaji's family. It was also the tacit understanding between Luo Hao and the 6 Paths brothers. Therefore, a series of plot shootings by the great director Black Zetsu can be unimpeded. After all, although brothers Luo Hao and 6 Paths didn't help him directly, they gave him the green light invisibly. Otherwise, do you think there are more complicated reasons? Luo Hao looked at Black Zetsu with a half smile. Didn't you set your sights on Mother's chakra fruit? And Yuya's chakra? Black Zetsu couldn't believe it. The fruit of chakra is indeed precious and rare. But I can even create a Shinigami tree, if I really want the chakra fruit, how difficult. Advertisement. If I really set my sights on Kagayaji's chakra fruit, wouldn't it be better to go directly to the moon and snatch Kagayaji while Kagayaji is sealed? As for Sage of 6 Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura, although they are hidden in the boundary between life and death, how difficult do you think it would be for me to find them? 0 for flowers. Luo Hao asked back. Hearing this, Black Zetsu was completely silent. Indeed, with Luo Hao's ability, the boundary between life and death in the ninja world that is difficult for ordinary people to cross is something that can be reached with just a thought. At this moment, he finally realized. It turns out that his biggest sponsor is Luo Hao, whom he has always regarded as his biggest enemy. Kagayaji can come out, the credit of the Sage of 6 Paths brothers can only be ranked 3rd or 2nd at most. The one who really contributed the most was Tianren Luo Hao, whom he feared endlessly. 0. Tenon must have contributed a lot to the success of his Black Zetsu saving his mother scene. Just looking for someone who can take a punch from you. Sage of 6 Paths chewed this sentence several times, and my own observations of Luo Hao over the years emerged in my mind. Ever since Luo Hao was in the Third Ninja World War, he was hidden between life and death, and he noticed this Luo Ku who was still a child at that time. After careful observation, he realized that Luo Hao's strength was indeed like the Kaitama Demon King with the limiter turned on. Since entering the ninja school and starting to contact chakra, my strength has been rising at the speed of taking rocket classes every day. The bottleneck for ordinary ninjas did not appear in Luo Hao at all. This also led to the fact that when Luo Hao was in the ninja school, he couldn't find anyone to compete with him. Because Namikaze Minato, the strongest in that era, was the one who was knocked down with a slap in the ninja school. After coming out of the ninja school, I killed the parents of the Red Sand Scorpion at the beginning. Later, he started his journey of punching, kicking and sword. Facing every ninja, they are crushed with absolute strength. From Ninja World to Pirate World to Shinigami World all 5. Advertisement. Chapter 401 Kagaya. Can our family receive a punch? Advertisement. Indeed. In fact, this kid has been living a helpless life since the ninja school. Although this helpless life is a kind of happiness for all ninjas. Ant Snake in the distance heard Luo Hao's rare confession of heart, and a flash of nostalgia flashed in her eyes. He noticed Luo Hao before he entered the ninja school. Later, when he entered the ninja school, he accepted Luo Hao as a disciple in advance and exceptionally. That's why Konohagakure said that Ant Snake was Luo Hao's first teacher. As a teacher who witnessed Luo Hao growing up, he can feel, 193, and understand Luo Hao's helplessness. Whether it's the ninja school, the battlefield of the Third Ninja World War, or switching to other worlds through the Wankai Chat skirt, or even returning to the ninja world again to fight with the legendary ninja god Uno. Tianren still couldn't find anyone who could take his full blow. Ant Snake, I didn't even notice if you didn't tell me. As soon as you said that, I reacted. Lord 4th generation seems to be absolutely invincible no matter what period of time. When studying, when graduating, when participating in ninja wars, he is invincible. Namikaze Minato also felt this way. After all, he is the one who has been following in Luo Hao's footsteps since the ninja school. It's a pity that he was chasing after him, but he couldn't even see Luo Hao's back. Hitaki Sakumo, Narashirju and others are also deeply moved. They are either Luo Hao's elders, or Luo Hao's buddies, they are all existences who witnessed the rise of Tianren. Now that they heard Luo Hao say that, they all came to their senses. It turns out that 4th Hokage from his hometown really has no one who can take his full punch since he was a child. Advertisement. So the swordsmanship that you almost cut me to the sword just now is not your strongest strength. Kagayaji just felt speechless for a while. I ate the chakra fruit myself. He was almost chopped to death by 2 swords. Isn't this the most powerful? Can this family of 3 take a punch from the guy in front of them shoulder to shoulder? For the first time, Kagayaji, who was quite confident about joining forces with Yuya and Hamura, felt uneasy, and not confident. Isn't that obvious? If I take out the strongest and chop you with a sword, how will the 6 Paths brothers have time to come and rescue you? Also, if I cut you to death with 1 sword, how can I let the 3 of you, mother and son, stand side by side? Luo Hao glanced at Kagayaji. Kagayaji gritted her teeth and glared at Luo Hao. Emotion itself is just a pawn in the opponent's palm from beginning to end. A chess piece that can be manipulated at will. This made her, the proud ancestor of chakra. How could she swallow this breath? Hamura, Yuya, let's go together. I don't believe that the three of us, mother and son, can't take a punch from him. Kagayaji slammed down a harsh sentence. Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura looked at each other. Although they both saw helplessness in each other's eyes, they were more dignified. They are all people who have observed Luo Hao for a long time, so they naturally know that Tian Ren in front of him is not talking nonsense. Advertisement. The opponent has really been unable to find an opponent who can carry his strength. Hamura, you teach Mother Sage mode. I'm going to drag Tenon. Otsutsuki Yuya took a deep breath. 0. As the god of ninja who has witnessed the historical changes of the ninja world. He is not always sealed like Kagayaji, and he has never studied or deciphered chakra. For thousands of years, he has been studying, and practicing chakra. At the same time, I also witnessed the changes in the history of the ninja world, and saw countless human talents develop various application modes of chakra, that is, art. Through witnessing these techniques, the learned sage of Six Paths, although he did not eat the chakra fruit, but with his absolute control and use of chakra, and the fact that he once became a Ten-Tails Jinchuriki, in the peak period, even Kagaya Haim who can't fight can be singled out. It is good. Otsutsuki Hamura nodded. In the past, they were very afraid that Kagayaji would come into contact with the power of immortals. That is, how to use the natural energy of the ninja world, sage mode. After all, Kagayaji is the ancestor of chakra. Chakra is too big. Once you have learned Sage Mode and developed it to Ultimate, even if you don't know how to fight, with the Immortal Model 1.6 Pupil Alignment Technique and the increase in Blood Succession Snare, you can definitely crush the two brothers to death. Why were the two brothers able to seal Kagaya? Except that Kagaya-ji is not good at fighting, the most important reason is that the two brothers have learned Sage Mode, and developed it to the point of surpassing the three holy lands of the ninja world. In the end, the two brothers each created their own unique Sage Mode based on their blood inheritance and power. For example, Sage of Six Paths, that is, Otsutsuki Yuya created Six Paths Sage Mode. Are you sure you want to fight me as a dead man? Luo Hao looked at the extremely old Sage of Six Paths in front of him. Advertisement. Chapter 402 Sage of Six Paths. I can resurrect myself. Advertisement. For Otsutsuki Hamura's move to teach Kagaya-ji Sage Mode, he will not ignore it, but he will not deliberately stop it. As the Sage of Six Paths says, let it intercept itself. If Sage of Six Paths can stop it, it's okay to let Kagaya-ji learn Sage Mode. But if Sage of Six Paths can't stop him, then neither can he. He wants to find someone to take his punch, but he will not train and strengthen the enemy specially for this purpose. If Sage of Six Paths pleases him, that's another matter. Of course not. Although the world calls me Sage of Six Paths, the god of the ninja world, I know very well that in front of you, even the Sage of Six Paths in the eyes of the world is just a mortal. At most, they are mortals who are slightly stronger than ninjas. No matter how arrogant I am, I will not be stupid enough to try to deal with 30U in the form of chakra. Sage of Six Paths raised the fairy staff while speaking. Heretic Rinne Tensai Technique. As an existence that thoroughly grasps the essence and all mysteries of chakra, instead of simply using chakra like most ninjas and Kagaya-ji, without knowing what chakra is, Sage of Six Paths does have incredible abilities. This kind of ability does not simply refer to his strength, but also various powerful means. For example, like now, Uchiha Madara opened Rinnegan, you can only go to the world of the dead if you die. Sage of Six Paths is dead but can freely travel through the world of the dead and the ninja world, and stay in the boundary of life and death forever to observe the movement of the ninja world. Even more terrifying is that his chakra is so powerful that it will never dissipate. Advertisement. Although the body cannot be nearly immortal like Kagaya-ji, but his chakra and soul can. In the form of soul and chakra, he ignores the physical body, and does not need a physical body, and can directly cast Rinnegan's pupil technique. And it's a heretic Rinne Tensai technique. What's even more frightening is that the target of his spell is himself. What a great way to revive yourself with the Rinne Tensai technique. Definitely not just a simple chakra big enough to do it. It is necessary to fully control the mystery of chakra, coupled with the training of Rinnegan's pupil power, develop to ultimate, and reach the point where Sage of Six Paths transcends the boundaries of life and death in the ninja world, or even ignores the boundaries of life and death. Once this Rinne Tensai technique is cast, the Sage of Six Paths, which was only in the form of chakra, began to change. His body that has already changed with the years, the giant wheel of ninja world history is turning, and the body that has decayed and turned into ashes in the long river of time is condensed again. When the body and soul were connected again through chakra and Rinnegan's pupil power, the former seal Kagaya-ji, Otsutsuki Yuya known as the Sage of Six Paths, was resurrected again. The old faces are gone. In its place is the heroic, majestic face of Sage of Six Paths, youth. As a long dead person, I shouldn't have trampled on life and death so casually, playing with the soul, even if the soul is my own. But for the sake of my mother, I can only make an exception once. Sage of Six Paths is different from Kagaya-ji, he grew up in the ninja world. So he understands the importance of order. At the same time, he also understands that he is an existence above order. If even he does not abide by the order of life and death in the ninja world, then the ninja world will inevitably be in chaos. For example, if the people around him die, he will be resurrected. What about other dying people begging him? Advertisement. What about the friends and relatives of the resurrected person? And so on, all kinds of problems Sage of Six Paths have been taken into account. So neither he nor Yumura intends to use their power to fight against life, old age, sickness and death, but instead intends to use their own lives to maintain order in the ninja world. Even though their bodies were getting old, they didn't use their strength to make any resistance. In the ninja world, even many human beings who master special ninjutsu can live forever, be immortal, or be immortal for a long time. With the abilities of Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura, they can be almost immortal if they want to. But that's not what Sage of Six Paths and Otsutsuki Hamura wanted. In the end, they all choose to die of old age naturally, and then protect the order of the ninja world in the form of chakra. For example, after a person dies, the world their soul goes to is managed by their two brothers. This is also the reason why Kagayaji broke the seal, and the two brothers did not resurrect, but chose the successor to inherit their own power to seal Kagayaji. If it is not necessary, they do not want to destroy the ninja world order established by one hand. Wonderful. Apply the Rinne Tensai technique to yourself. Revive yourself. 6 paths, you really opened my eyes. It can be said that there has never been anyone who has been able to reach your level throughout the ages. You are worthy of the name of the ninja immortal. Seeing Sage of Six Paths staged a wonderful performance of resurrecting himself, Luo Hao couldn't help clapping his hands gently. What a powerful pupil power this is. This is the real development of Rinnegan's power to master the cycle of life and death into ultimate, and it can only be done after mastering ultimate. Advertisement. Chapter 403 Peerless Ancient and Modern, Battle of Immortals. Advertisement. In comparison, all the people who own Rinnegan in today's ninja world can control the life and death of others at most. But Sage of Six Paths not only controls the life and death of others, his Rinnegan can also control his own life and death. Overrated. For others, maybe this is a difficult thing. But for you who have come from nothing to today, I think it is not difficult. Sage of Six Paths has no complacency. Although I use the Rinne Tensai technique to revive myself, even Kagayaji can't do it in the ninja world. It's not that Kagayaji doesn't have this ability, but Kagayaji's use and control of reincarnation Sharingan and chakra can't reach Sage of Six Paths levels. But in the eyes of Sage of Six Paths, this is not something to be proud of. At least the tenon in front of him can do it. As for Otsutsuki Hamura, although the understanding of pupil power and chakra is no less than that of Sage of Six Paths, but because what Otsutsuki Hamura has mastered as Tenseigan and Rinnegan's power is essentially different. Rinnegan is reincarnation. Tenseigan is destroy Genesis. So what Sage of Six Paths can do, Otsutsuki Hamura can't. Likewise, what Otsutsuki Hamura can do, Sage of Six Paths can't necessarily do. Come on, let me see how far the legendary Sage of Six Paths uses chakra and pupil power. Luo Hao waved towards Sage of Six Paths, with a little expectation in his tone. He has seen the ability of Sage of Six Paths. However, he has never seen his ability in actual combat. After all, chakra's pupil power is strong, but it just means that he is powerful and has outstanding means, and it does not mean that his combat power must be heaven-defying. Advertisement. Some people have a point of chakra, which can be very effective in battle. But some people are very chakra, but they can only achieve 1 point in the battle. Kagayaji is typical of the latter. As for the Sage of Six Paths, although Luo Hao has never fought against it, he can be sure that the other party belongs to the former. Otherwise, the rebel Sage of Six Paths would have been beaten to death by Kagayaji long ago. Where is the chance to leave so many myths and legends in the ninja world? It is also my honor to be able to fight against Tenon. As soon as the voice of Sage of Six Paths fell, the person had disappeared in place. He didn't pull off earth-shattering special effects. It also didn't release the Susanoo that smashed everything, and it didn't create any earth-shattering abilities such as Tailed Beast Bomb. He was like an ordinary ninja. The moment he started, he flashed in front of Luo Hao and played the most unpretentious martial arts. Even his punches and kicks look no different from ordinary ninjas. There is no special effect of smashing the sky with one punch, or smashing the ground with one sleep. Well done. But it was such a simple fist that made Luo Hao's eyes light up. The moment Six Paths started, I also saw something. Absolute mastery and understanding of chakra. Absolute display of physical strength. 1 point of effort, 20 points of effect. We are talking about people like Sage of Six Paths. Absolutely control the power. As long as Sage of Six Paths doesn't want to, then even if his punch has the power to shatter mountains, he can still control it to the point where it smashes a leaf without hurting other leaves or branches. Advertisement. That's when Sage of Six Paths dodges, punches and that's it. Without any special effects, it does not mean that the power is weak. This simply means that Sage of Six Paths, control of chakra has reached ultimate. In fact, this one punch killed Six Paths Obito, and hammered Six Paths Madara to death. Facing the fist of Sage of Six Paths, Luo Hao also punched lightning fast. It may be the reason why the exquisite control displayed by Sage of Six Paths made him shine, but he did not choose to overwhelm others. Instead, he directly competes with the Sage of Six Paths in the control and use of chakra, physical strength. In an instant, the fists of the two had already collided in the void. The collision of the two fists did not cause any damage to the outside world except for a howling storm in the void and a loud noise. But anyone with strong perception or special pupil skills will have their eyelids twitching. Facing this punch, I will be beaten to death. Nara Shirju, the owner of Konoha General Staff whose quality is no less than Sage of Six Paths Rinnegan, felt a burst of fear. Lee's good, he obviously has the same eyes as Sage of Six Paths, but if you let him face Sage of Six Paths, the result is that he has no chance to use any means, and he can't use them. Sage of Six Paths just needs one punch to kill him. The first fairy with a Rinnegan. I've finally seen it. No wonder it's called the Sage of Six Paths. After Hitachi Tsukumo exclaimed, his eyes shifted to Otsutsuki Hamura, who was teaching Kagayaji to use natural energy in the distance. I have seen the Sage of Six Paths. As the younger brother of Sage of Six Paths, I wonder how amazing you are. Hitachi Tsukumo stared fixedly at Otsutsuki Hamura, thinking to himself. Advertisement. Chapter 404 Sage of Six Paths. I'm not as good as you, Tianren. Advertisement. Hitachi Tsukumo knows that although Otsutsuki Hamura does not look as radiant as Sage of Six Paths, it seems to be completely covered by the brilliance of Sage of Six Paths, no matter in past history or now, it seems to be very inconspicuous. But this Otsutsuki Hamura, who is almost completely hidden behind the Sage of Six Paths, has eyes like his. In the face of this seemingly inconspicuous man, Hitachi Tsukumo did not dare to underestimate him. While Otsutsuki Hamura appears to be completely hidden in the light of Sage of Six Paths, that's what he's willing to do. This is Otsutsuki Hamura willing to put all the glory and aura on the Sage of Six Paths. It doesn't mean Otsutsuki Hamura is weak. In fact, Otsutsuki Hamura is no less than a Sage of Six Paths existence. In addition to not being a Ten-Tails Jinchuriki, he is not inferior to the Sage of Six Paths. At least, with Sage of Six Paths now without 10 tails, the two brothers are nothing but half-hearted 010. When Kagayaji distributed chakra and Tongli to the two brothers, she was not partial. Everything the two have inherited is completely equal. Competing since childhood and getting along with each other for thousands of years, the Six Paths brothers have been divided into strengths and weaknesses for a while, but after thousands of years, they have long been neck and neck with each other, and no one is stronger than the other. These two people can only say that because of their different eyes, strength, and areas of expertise, they each have their own merits, and there is no distinction between high and low. This punch will decide the winner. Ant Snake stared intently at Luo Hao and Sage of Six Paths. Is it to compete for the control of power? Namikaze Minato, Uchiha Shisui and others opened Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan one after another, watching intently. This is a truly shocking battle. Advertisement. Compared with the battle between Luo Hao and Kagayaji, which was not worth learning at all and could not learn anything at all, this battle between Luo Hao and Sage of Six Paths, even a ninja who has no blood inheritance limit can learn something. Because whether it is Sage of Six Paths or Luo Hao, what they use is the most unpretentious, but it is the method that determines how far all ninjas can go. It can be said that it is the foundation of ninjas. Understanding and mastering chakra. Everyone can learn, everyone can practice, and everyone can improve. It is also true that Namikaze Minato, Ant Snake, Tsunade and others who know the goods are so hardworking and serious. Before they watched the battle between Luo Hao and Kagayaji, they could only watch it like watching a movie, except that it was shocking, it was impossible to do what the characters in the movie did. But it's different now, they can learn and imitate the methods Luo Hao showed in the battle with Sage of Six Paths. Even just learning 1% is enough for a cage-level expert to break through the shackles of ninjas and become a super cage-level existence. Under the gaze of many top powerhouses in Konohagakure, after Luo Hao in the void fought with Sage of Six Paths, his body froze in the void first, and then Sage of Six Paths suddenly took 3 steps back, while Luo Hao was not moving at all. We lost. Dave, Tsunade and the others had a flash of understanding in their eyes. This boxing contest is not about physical skills, chakra, or pupil power. Pure control over chakra. Whether it is Luo Hao or Sage of Six Paths, the physical power they use is exactly the same as chakra, the difference is that Sage of Six Paths, control is not as good as Luo Hao. 3 steps. Originally, I thought that I was indeed inferior to my mother in terms of chakra and pupil power. But the control and understanding of power, except Hamura, no one can compare to me. But I didn't expect to lose to you, I can't bear it. You have used the same strength as me, but in terms of boxing strength, I am not as good as you. Advertisement. Sage of Six Paths took a deep look at Luo Hao. A pair of majestic, noble, exuding the meaning of looking down on the world, Rinnegan showed a touch of shock. He could feel that Luo Hao did not choose to overwhelm others in the contest just now. He has mobilized power for many years, Luo Hao mobilized the equivalent calendar area. But his control of power is not as good as Luo Hao, in the end Luo Hao didn't move at all, but he took 3 steps back. Although these are just 3 small steps, Sage of Six Paths can feel the gap between himself and Luo Hao from these 3 steps. Just the difference of these 3 steps, even if Luo Hao is equal to him in strength, he can beat him to death with the distance of these 3 steps. Good. You are the closest to me in power control I have ever met. You really brought me a lot of surprises, you, Six Paths. After Luo Hao finished speaking, he took a step forward. He didn't use the Flying Thunder God technique, nor did he use any space-time ninjutsu. Now what he's using doesn't even count as a blink technique. It is completely the real physical body movement speed. But this speed is like teleportation in the eyes of Namikaze Minato and others. Even Sage of Six Paths has a feeling of spatial confusion. The speed of Fangfo Luo Hao is so fast that the space can't bear it, breaking away from the limit of space in the ninja world. As long as this speed explodes, it will cause space chaos. Advertisement. Chapter 405 Six Paths Lightning Style vs Six Paths Fire Style. Advertisement. Really fast. Sage of Six Paths is shocked, but not panicked. I saw his right hand, and a very familiar thunder light burst out from the palm of his right hand. It looks a bit like Kakashi's Reikiri, but it's a product of two different. Interesting. The perfect fusion of yin-yang and five elements is truth-seeking ball. If lightning style can be used as the foundation, combining wind, fire, earth, water, yin and yang, it is not truth-seeking ball. It's Six Paths lightning style. The appreciation in Luo Hao's eyes became more intense. The surprises brought to him by Sage of Six Paths are really more and more. Although he knew this method a long time ago, besides him, he has also seen someone who can do it. 10 Tails Jinchuriki like Uchiha Madara, Uchiha Obito can't even master truth-seeking ball. Purely after becoming 10 Tails Jinchuriki, truth-seeking ball comes into its own. But if they really want to rely on their own abilities to condense the truth-seeking ball without 10 Tails Jinchuriki, they can't do it at all. And like Sage of Six Paths at this time, choose lightning-style chakra nature transformation from yin-yang and five elements as the core, and then integrate the other six chakra into lightning style. Forcibly developing lightning style into a truth-seeking ball level product, not to mention Six Paths Madara and the likes of 10 Tails Jinchuriki, even Kagayaji can't do it. Kagayaji, Uchiha Madara and others are stuck on the use of chakra. And Sage of Six Paths has fully reached the point where it can explain all the truths and mysteries of chakra. It is the so-called all-truth that Ant Snake pursues. The means that Sage of Six Paths has at this time is exactly what Ant Snake is pursuing. Advertisement. If you use thunder, then I will destroy it. Seeing Sage of Six Paths cast Six Paths lightning style, he did not choose wind style to restrain lightning style, but fire style. I saw the palm of his right hand spread out, and a group of scorching flames curled up. It looks like the color of ordinary fire style, it looks like a small flame. But the moment Sage of Six Paths saw this flame curling up from Luo Hao's palm, his face became extremely solemn in an instant. Really, like me, and Hamura, he is a person who has seen all the truths of chakra. That's true. His control over chakra is still above mine. Integrating yin-yang and five elements into a certain nature transformation. There is no reason why he can't do what I can do. Sage of Six Paths sighed in my heart. Now he can understand what kind of mood those enemies who stood opposite Tien Ren used to have. I also feel the feelings of Kagayaji, Six Paths Madara, and Six Paths Obito just now. Really helpless, very hopeless. No matter what method he uses, Luo Hao can use it, and even use it better than himself. Come. Luo Hao waved to Sage of Six Paths. It is good. Sage of Six Paths bursts with blue light all over his body. Electric currents visible to the naked eye swept across the void. Advertisement. Let the Buddha be like the god of thunder and lightning. These currents, which appear to be ordinary lightning style, are actually Six Paths lightning style. All the same product as the truth-seeking ball. Just like the long sword created by Luo Hao with yin-yang and five elements, although the appearance is different from the truth-seeking ball, it is a product of one category and one level. At this time, the Sage of Six Paths was entangled in the Six Paths level electric current. Without any movement, the person had already come to Luo Hao out of thin air. 0 for flowers. The speed is several times faster than before. Almost instantly, he brought the speed and penetration of thunder to the ultimate level. At the same time, the Six Paths lightning style, which incorporates yin-yang and five elements, also has a destructive power that is no less than that of the truth-seeking ball, but it is completely different from the truth-seeking ball. Force. This Six Paths lightning style entrenched in the palm of your hand can kill 10 Tails Jinchuriki with a single blow. Like Uchiha Madara's Susanoo, and Uchiha Sasuke's fusion of the nine-tailed beast chakras Susanoo, and even Kagayaji's ultimate body Susanoo, can be smashed in one blow. 0. Unlike Kagayaji, Uchiha Madara, who can play Susanoo, tailed beast bomb and other super special effects when they move, Sage of Six Paths is like a master of chakra. All his attacks look no different from ordinary ninjas, but in fact there is a huge difference, completely the gap between gods and humans. This kind of method that abandons all bells and whistles is much more terrifying than turning into a beast with a tail when you start it, and Susanoo when you move it. Facing the Six Paths lightning style that came waving from the Sage of Six Paths, Luo Hao did not dodge, and raised his hand to push out the Six Paths fire style that was entrenched in his palm. When fire and thunder collide, a huge explosion instantly blows away the clouds in the ninja world. Not only that, but a huge, pitch-black crack appeared in the sky of ninja world. It looks like the ninja world has been torn apart. Even Emperor Guy with 8 gates fully open can only distort the space of the ninja world with pure power. One can imagine how strong the space of the ninja world is. But now, Luo Hao and Sage of Six Paths just slapped the palm-sized flames, thunder and lightning collided with each other, and a crack exploded in the sky of the ninja world, completely blasting the space of the ninja world. Advertisement.